Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Let's play Where in the World is Dallas Braden?
One of your favorite places, Jared.
Oh, it is one of my favorite places. I do enjoy that city quite a bit.
Yep, the home of the seamen.
Yeah, Seattle is by the way, my experiences in Seattle, everyone talks about how it always rains in Seattle. I've been there a few times, never a drop. Not a drop. Never.
Currently raining in Seattle. I got here and I got up this morning and looked out the window and was like, fuck. Come on. Don't do this. Like I got about a 2-hour window or so where I don't need to be out there. Just tell me you're going to clear up after. Because if I don't get to walk around here in Seattle, then this quickly becomes one of the worst fucking places to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fun city to walk around if you can get past like the homeless people and the heroin and stuff. But like, there's a lot of cities that have that.
Yeah, but I mean, this is at times it's a little more aggressive in nature, very San Francisco-esque.
Yeah.
The usage of illegal substances right in the pathway, doorway, hallway, whatever. Yeah, so once you just kind of look past that and avert your eyes, it could be a nice city.
Yeah, so speaking as someone that lived in Manhattan for 3 years, I am completely desensitized to all that stuff. What was that? I was walking around, maybe it was Chicago. It's either Chicago or Phoenix. We were just like walking down the street and there was a homeless man screaming at the top of his lungs, followed by a car accident in an intersection, back-to-back instances within a 5-second span. And the dude I was walking down the street with goes, bro, did you just see that? Like, you didn't even flinch. And I was like, I lived in New York City for 3 years. Like that, like you can lay on your horn right next to me. Like, I'm not going to flinch. Like, it's just, that's New York City living, which is San Francisco, which is Seattle.
A guy, somebody was just in San Francisco for a game and was telling me about their experience. It was like, dude, like I haven't been there since like, I don't know, maybe like 2 years ago. Like, what the hell is going on there? And he was telling me a story about how a guy like just took his pants off while in line, like out in front of this eatery area. And I was like, okay. And he was like, well, I mean, that was it. He was like, I was like, oh. He's like, what do you mean? Oh, like a guy was half naked in line for lunch. And I was like, yeah, well, let me tell you a story about Mission Street. Like, and just like, you don't want to Tommy top people, but you're like, look, if that's the worst thing you're seeing, dude, good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad you only saw some dude's ass crack and not like intercourse. Or,
you'll see that if you just start walking. If you go in the subway.
Oh, yeah.
If you take your kids on the subway, that is not suitable for work. That's just
there's an unwritten age limit for the subway these days. I feel like 18 year older, just because you're going to grow up. Like you could grow up between stops. You know what I mean? You can get on the subway a boy and you can leave a man very quickly.
I remember I sent a video to Coley when he was running social like 5-6 years ago, and it was just like two homeless dudes blowing each other, and he's like. He's like, bro, I can't post this. I was like, oh, all right. I just figured, New York City, concrete jungle where dreams are made of.
Well, yeah. New York's getting a bad rap, Coley. They say people are violent and angry here. This just is not the truth.
Yeah, no, not at all. A lot of love. There's a lot of love beneath the streets.
Is this what you meant by New York City sucks?
Yeah. Anyways, we got a lot to get into on this Monday podcast. The Mariners are in first place. The Rangers are collapsing. We got Shohei Ohtani drama. Don't count out the Rays in the American League East.
Wow.
We got some Rays Yankees drama. The Félix Bautista injury. Mookie Betts. There's a few different Mookie Betts topics. Pete Alonso trade rumors. Bob Melvin, Dallas, is saying fuck the Padres, basically. He's saying fuck my team. We're all done, pretty much. Noah Syndergaard designated for assignment. And my My Milwaukee Brewers have won 8 straight. I saw one Milwaukee Brewers. It's the same dude over and over again, pissing and moaning that we don't talk about the Brewers. So we're going to talk about the Brewers. You little fuck. Brewers are on the docket today. But first, as always, on the Monday podcast, we go through the headlines of the weekend presented by DIRECTV, home to the most local MLB games. We do have Joseph. We do have Dallas. No Jay Hay today. He is enjoying some family time, which I don't know how much that pisses you off, Joke. If you want, before we get into the weekend headlines, can you just spout off on Jay Hay choosing his family over the Monday podcast?
I didn't know that it was family issues.
No, not issues.
I don't want to say issues.
There's no issues. He's just enjoying his family.
Yeah, it's an issue now.
To me,
it's an issue now.
That's an issue. Yeah, exactly. He's got family problems.
Yeah,
they need him to spend time with them.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. It's a big problem.
It's a huge problem. But I made sure to get his parlay pick.
Bait, but
got his parlay pick because we still have to do the Baseball's Dead parlay on Mondays. But the weekend storylines, what stood out to you, Joseph? Why don't you go first this time around?
I would say, first of all, congrats to California for winning Little League World Series. I fucking missed it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that one, Dallas. I didn't even get to watch it. I barely got to watch Jack Crap this weekend, to be honest. But looking at the headlines, Jack Crap. I didn't get to see Jack Crap, man.
Oh.
Because
I thought that was someone's name.
No.
Okay.
I'm not cursing anymore. It's a new thing.
Okay.
But I think
Jared's typing Jack Crack into fucking baseball reference. Who the fuck is this?
Yes, dude, lefty. What?
But I think Félix Bautista, bro, that is a massive injury. I think it gets overshadowed because we just saw the Shohei injury, which is the atomic bomb of injuries. But that for the Orioles is that's next level bad. That's almost like, I want to say, one player. There's a lot of players who are more important than their team than him. Not a lot. There's probably very few, but that Orioles team, how much they rely on their bullpen, how much they rely on the back end of the bullpen, specifically to lose him, who was having for a little, they were saying this could be a Cy Young winner.
Cy Young?
Yeah. So if he's out for the season, out for the playoffs, we were just talking about how the Orioles World Series odds were jokingly low, but now they're probably 2%, other than 4%.
You can't lose a dude like this and feel like everything's fine. Everything's going to be okay, because this is the moment where the depth and that conversation starts to rear its head. Who do they have that they could slot right in? And I know I can hear you guys right now yelling at your phone, yelling at your radio. Cano! What about fucking Cano? We went and got Fuji too. I'm not saying that you're telling me that Fuji's going to step up and fill Cano's spot as Cano tries to step up and fill Felix's spot.
I don't think there's anyone besides you that is like, they have Fuji. You're the only one saying that.
No, I'm saying that was because I go there because that's their move.
Yeah.
That's the move they made. So when you start to look at this, that would be your first, if you're going down the list, going down the line, it's all right, Felix gone. Who steps up? Okay, Cano. Who's going to step in for Cano? Well, we got Fuji. And it's all right, well, we need to pump the brakes immediately right there, because we're thinking that Cano's just going to be Felix and Fuji's just going to be Cano. I don't know about that. So that's where the depth, again, comes into play. Danny Colomb, good job. Is that going to be enough? I want to think so. Former Red Raider, the Texas Tech University Red Raiders. I would love to see Danny Colomb come in and step up and play a massive role in filling the void for Bautista. I just don't know how realistic that is right now. So this is a bigger hit than I think a lot of O's fans want to readily admit. They understand.
I think they know. I think they know, because if you're the Baltimore Orioles, right, your strength has been the lineup and the bullpen, because you don't have a rotation right now that's going to carry you through a deep postseason run. So you were banking on your starters getting by so that you can hand it off to your elite back end of the bullpen. Well, one of those guys, the guy, just went down. Should we call RDT on this? Let's call RDT. It's like Pawn Stars.
Yeah, that's a problem. And an elite bullpen over the course of a postseason could get taxed or down the stretch.
No doubt. Let's see how fucked the Orioles are. He might not answer. He's a smart guy.
Your call has been forwarded.
That's what I thought. Yeah, he wants to talk when the Orioles are red hot, but something goes wrong, and this guy straight to voicemail. Straight to voicemail.
I think it's just like very unique how the Orioles are like how they've been winning. Where I mean, I don't have the numbers right now, but I think if you look up their bullpen ERA, it's not like they're like top 5 in the league bullpen ERA. It's the two guys they have at the back end,
yes,
who have shut down and won like every game they win. It's those guys shutting it down. Like Felix, but like losing your closer sucks for any team, but for the Orioles, he leads the pitchers in WAR as a closer, which never happens.
Joe, you don't have a conversation about a reliever considering the Cy Young Award, thinking that he's getting a ton of other help from other places. Like that conversation is quite literally about what he himself is doing in the 9th inning or beyond, whatever leverage attachment you want to put on. But that's what that conversation is about. A closer, Cy Young. Let's take a look at the numbers. Like that dude has been dominant, and the guy behind him has been really good as well. And to eliminate, I don't want to say eliminate both of those guys, but what happens now is Cano, by virtue of trying to fill a void and maybe be someone he's not, there could be a step back in his production with the responsibility that he has never been asked to shoulder. So now, down the stretch, big time leverage moments. Can he handle that pressure? Can he handle that responsibility? And everybody that comes behind him is going to be feeling some sort of that same effect, right? Like Fuji is going to have to say to himself, can I step up and do what Cano was doing when he handed the ball to Felix? Now I have to be the guy to hand the ball to Cano, and whoever comes behind him. That's why I threw Danny Colom's name out there. So it's just it's an unfortunate spot for a team who is having a lot of success because their lineup has scored enough runs and put enough of a distance between them and their opponent that the back end of the bullpen can come in and have the impact that it's had all year long. But now that's gone.
Can we all agree that we lost respect for RDT? That was a straight up decline. That wasn't like I'm not at my phone right now, I didn't answer. That was a straight up bitch button decline.
Yeah, you got ducked.
Yeah.
You got pitch commed.
Yeah. Maybe he'll call back later in the show. I don't know. I mean, we're on the topic right now. I think it's arguably one of the biggest injuries to happen in the sport this year, based on the story the Orioles have been, based on where they've gotten to, which is first place. They entered today 2 games up. But that's been one of their biggest strengths. That's what's carried them to where they're at. Their offense and their bullpen.
If you don't have Edwin Diaz's 2022 to go on, and you have the hype and just the start to the 2023 season that Edwin Diaz had in 2022, you're basically losing the same type of presence, right? What he was to that Mets bullpen and what he was going to mean to their run, and what Bautista has meant to the Orioles run. Like that's think about how the Mets felt when they watched Edwin Diaz go down in the WBC.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot worse for the Orioles losing him, just because we saw what happened with the Mets. But going into the season, like the Mets had a lot of starters, a lot of pitchers, and their bullpen was, but the Orioles are relying on those 2 guys more than anyone is relying on any 2 relievers in the league.
And so now here we are. We've gone down this. We've gone through this stretch, right? We've gone through the whole entire season, and this is what it has meant to us. This is what it has been able to do for us. But now that dude's gone. So instead of losing Edwin early and being able to form a contingency plan, The Orioles are in scramble mode per se. Like, how do we take care of the last 6 outs now? How do we piece that together? Are we comfortable? Are we confident in our options right now? This is all we have. So we're going to have to figure out a way to piece these last 6 outs together.
I think us as a sport needs to come together and figure out how to fix UCLs. And because this is second UCL, like we need to get rid of UCLs. Cancel UCLs. That's what I'm thinking. Like, I think Dallas might be the freaking guy onto it. Like, let's get baboons, gorillas, something.
That actually,
I think
it does take a crazy dude like Dallas to revolutionize the sport. Like, think about how crazy it was at the time when they were thinking about the Tommy John surgery. Be like, no, all right, so hear me out, bro. I'm going to take a tendon from my fucking leg and put it in my arm so I can throw a ball. And everyone's like, dude, all right, you crazy weirdo. And now it happens every other week. Now we have Dallas being like, all right, hear me out. I'm going to take a tendon from a baboon and put it in my arm. And people are like, all right, Dallas, you fucking psycho. 25 years from now, they're going to be calling it the fucking Dallas Braden surgery. I got to get Dallas Braden. like,
how many trips you been to the zoo where the fucking monkeys were on the IL?
None. Zero. Imagine that. Like they call it Tommy John. That's his name. Like, we just think Tommy John. We just think, I got to get TJ. Like it doesn't stand for some medical term. It stands for Tommy John, who is a person. Like, if we just start putting baboon tendons in people's elbows, got to go get Dallas. Got to get DB surgery. Fuck.
Yeah, you got to go get that DB. Go catch a Dally baboon.
Feeling it, my fucking elbow. Oh, fuck, this is definitely DB.
But Joey, not to like get into a big nerdy conversation about evolution and where we're at as a species, but that is where we're at as a species. We are
what
at
did you just call it?
The front line. We are at the brink
Say
of
that
what
again?
the human body. What's that?
Did you say species?
Yeah,
species.
No, as a species, whatever. No, species. We're a species. There's many species on the planet. We are one species. No.
Yeah.
We're a species, Betty.
Yeah.
We're a species.
Okay.
And that is why we are encountering what we're just waiting to see what the next step in our evolutionary process is as human beings is, because we have figured out how to project objects as far and as hard and as fast as we can come up with. And now it's just about our physical DNA and our makeup being able to withstand the torque and the toll that we're creating on our human body. So our joints, our ligaments, our tendons, what sort of force are they able to withstand? That's why we're always kind of taken back by guys who have like a really thick skull and like, in fighting, because they're like, well, this dude can just take shit that other people can't. His bones are just thicker. He's just different. He's Cro-Magnon human. Like he's built for this, where this dude not built for this, right? I use John Elway as an example. John Elway, no bicep tendon in his arm, could still throw a football fucking 80 yards. Me, no bicep tendon in my arm. I do a podcast. Like you're just built differently. So human wise, as a species, Jared, that's where we're at.
I think as a species sport, our sports species, my prediction, look at 50 years, I think the switch pitcher is just going to become a thing, because motherfuckers are going to get a UCL and you're just like, I got my left. I don't even need the UCL on my right.
Yeah.
And they can get the UCL on the right, still pitch with their left. Like this guy in college doing it. Like Mr.
Vendetti.
What was his name again?
Pat Vendetti.
There's another kid though that throws. He's an ambidextrous pitcher, but he throws gas.
Yeah, he's blowing low nines from the left, mid to upper nines from the right.
Yeah, I forget his name, but
he's got a hard name, man. But Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Well, he was in the Little League World Series.
What?
Yes, he was. He was pitching switch pitching in the Little League World Series. Yeah,
for Curacao, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I just don't know his name, but I know. Yeah, that dude's on the radar for sure.
Huh. Interesting. Well, either way, how close are we, do you think, to DB surgery becoming a thing, Dallas?
Dude, all it would have taken was a fucking doctor ready to roll the dice, and we'd have been down this road.
So
already.
this is one of them. This is one of them turkey deals, huh?
I was before. Hey, I was more than well. I was literally life, career, everything, all in one basket, just looking for anybody who would attach a baboon ligament into my arm.
Walk me through this for the people that I know that you talked about this on Joey's Baseball Doesn't Exist video. Go check it out on his YouTube channel. But to elaborate more on this, is this just like a high thought that you had, or did you do research, or has anyone else attempted to do this? Like, were you going out on a whim? Did this exist before you attempted it?
Did not exist. Nothing existed. There was no literature on this. It was just all about the Tommy John and cadavers taking and blah blah blah. Like, it had a lot to do with the human genome and the chromosomes that separate, like whether or not my body would even take or accept a foreign ligament that only had a portion of the DNA chain, as so this
again, was your concoction in your brain.
Oh, absolutely. No, yeah, this was not brought to me by anybody. Yeah. This was me thinking over, like let's think about this. These fucking animals swing from trees. They pull 3 times, 5 times their body weight. They're 3.5 times stronger than an average human. A chimp, a fucking 80-pound chimp will fuck your world all the way up. All the way
this
up.
This is like when Willem Dafoe in Spider-Man, he's like, you know what? Like, we haven't tested this at all, but like, fuck it. You guys are afraid to do human testing. Do it on me. And then he turns into the Green Goblin. Imagine Dallas. He's out there throwing fucking 86 mile an hour fastballs, and then he gets a baboon ligament. And he's pumping 109. Everyone's like, bro, a little obvious on the steroids. And he's like, no. Got DB surgery. No. It's different. Got that DB.
The first step in this all is we got to get a baboon. We got to teach him how to pitch. All right. And we, once we get him up to like, mid 90s, low 90s, we'll get him up there in a year maybe. And then once he's throwing 90s, maybe he hurts his elbow. And then we try to get Dallas's ligaments, try to put it in the baboon, see what goes on there.
Joe,
then you can kind of reverse engineer from there. But if you get a human ligament in a baboon, then there's some promise.
How far
there.
Did you take this, Dallas? Like, how many doctors did you ask about this? Like, how serious did it get? Like, did any doctor seriously consider it? If you had been like, hey, I got the baboon, let's like you bring the scalpel, I'll bring the baboon, let's do this.
No, none of the. I talked to 3 different doctors about.
How many?
3.
Okay, and what was the feedback?
I was laughed at every time.
Like 3, there are a lot of doctors out there. I feel like there's got to be a doctor out there that's willing to risk his or her medical license to try this. Because what happens? What happens if it's successful? Then you win all kinds of awards. Like, you're the doctor that, saved the game of baseball.
Right. Well, you've done a lot more than save the game of baseball if you're marrying fucking baboon ligaments into humans. You're baseball, great. You saved the season. There's a lot more ahead of you if you're doing that. All right. But that was my thought process was these animals are never hurt. Think about the force they withstand. Think about what they're able to do. It makes all the sense in the world. All I need to do is throw. These damn animals swing through life overhand. Like, all I'm looking to do is throw like 100 or so pitches every 5 days. I feel like I should be able to fit that.
Yeah, because when guys do Tommy John, you take the ligament from your leg and you put it in your elbow. It's like, they come back and they throw harder, right? So you get a baboon ligament in there. Who's to say you don't jump 10 miles an hour? 15,
10,
20.
I would be throwing 126. There would be. That's why I say there'd be no. I would be in jail.
What would the league
if the
do?
surgery?
What would the league do if you came back like your average fastball velocity was 86.4, and you came back from DB surgery throwing 126.7? What would the league say?
What are you going to say?
I don't know.
You're going to tell the truth. This guy's an animal. Yeah, he is.
Because then you would just have guys getting the surgery without needing it.
Well, it'd be just like Tommy John. You got come on, you got 14, 15-year-olds, their elbow hurts and they're like, "Oh, Mom, can I get Tommy John for Christmas?" It's like, whoa, dude, what are you doing? We're looking at this completely wrong. All right.
I don't know. I think there's something to it, Dallas.
So if there's a doctor out there that's willing, at a pivotal point in my life, Jared, I was ready to sacrifice absolutely everything for science.
Well, mean, at the 2012, 2013 point of your career, like, think about it this way. You only have one life to live. Like, think about the number of people that play baseball, that get drafted, that play professionally in the minor leagues, that get called up, that have pitched 200 innings in one season. Like, you are like the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. And you're now faced with a choice where you're not trying to do anything illegal. Like, there's definitely guys that have had that decision to make where it's like, hey, I'm the 1% of the 1% of the 1% that made it, and I've had a little bit of success, but I need to stay in the league somehow, so I'm going to take steroids. Dallas isn't saying, oh, I'm going to take steroids. He's saying, I'm going to put a baboon ligament in my elbows to fix it and make it stronger so that when I come back, I'm better than ever. That's not performance-enhancing drug. That's thinking outside the box. You're just...
Yeah, that's me. That's me trying to bring a couple species together. Sorry about that. Sorry about my unified front approach to life.
That's a dangerous precedent to set, though, because once he starts changing body, they're going to put a human brain in one of those fuckers next, and we don't want to. That's going to be. They made movies about that shit.
I've met some people that would probably benefit from having their brain swapped with the baboon the other way. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Yeah, and if you don't think that they're not growing shit on people or on things on some random island in the middle of the ocean out there somewhere, think again. They got ears growing on the back of mice here stateside. They're doing all kind of crazy shit.
Dallas, what stood out to you over the weekend?
It was the Little League World Series that Joey touched on briefly. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the last name. Lappy?
Don't ask me.
Louis Lappy?
Don't know.
Louis Lapay?
Maybe.
Either way, old Louis was the one handing out L's to Curacao because he straight up hit a tank 3 seconds after, I believe, Carl Ravitch stated that Curacao had yet to give up a home run in the Little League World Series. And then, bam, fucking bomb time, walk off. Thanks for coming out. The dude had hit five jacks over the tournament, 5 homers in the Little League World Series for our man Louis.
Curacao has not allowed a home run at the World Series. Challenged him, and this game is over. Louis Lappy does it again. California, your Little League World Series champs on a walk-off home run.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's so good. You feel like a wizard when shit like that happens.
Yeah.
You're like, bomb, and he crushed it too. But shout out to him because that was not an easy road. That was not an easy road for the boys from El Segundo. They had to win 5 consecutive elimination games just to get there. And if you remember what TOCs and All-Stars and things like that are, say you catch a tough break early in the tournament, you lose the first game or one of the first games you play. Now you're in the losers bracket. You're fighting for your life each and every day. You gotta win. You gotta win to see tomorrow. And they were able to do that 5 separate times on their way to a Little League World Series championship. Louis hit 647 in the Little League World Series, just 22 by 34. No big deal.
Hang with them.
So congratulations to the boys from Cali.
Pretty big.
World champions.
Yeah, champs. Champs are here. Jake, what stood out to you over the weekend?
I had the pleasure of watching the Dodgers come to Boston, and boy, that guy Mookie Betts is quite the ball player.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good. And we're going to talk about that guy later in the show. because I think we have to have a conversation. We have to have a talk about it especially with Joe chiming in, defend his boy Ronald Acuna Jr. Because entering today's Monday, August 28th. I don't know if you saw this, Dallas, but the new favorite in the National League for MVP is not Ronald Acuna Jr. anymore. It is Marcus Lynn Betts.
That is just incredible to think about.
You know what else is incredible to think about?
Incredible.
I'll tell you right now. The fact that the Seattle Mariners were 10 games out on July 19th and entering play today on the 28th of August, they're in first place.
They're in first fucking place. That is strong to quite strong. No doubt that when you have a guy quite literally not get out for 3-4 days, that helps. That helps.
I mean,
it's not just the 8-game stretch where J-Rod was absolutely lights out for 3 or 4 of them. I mean, that kind of performance starts to filter into all areas of the team. When you watch a guy, it's why they talk about hitting being so contagious, and it's crazy just being around the team like during that stretch, and you can just feel the confidence permeate throughout the entire team. One dude goes on a run like that, and it just gives everybody else a certain level of invincibility. He just raises the gameplay of everyone, and I think everybody was just like, you know what, dude? We're going to go as this dude goes anyway. Like, when it's all said and done, if he's swinging it well, if he's having a great year, there's a good chance the Seattle Mariners are having a great year. But they've also gotten a lot of good help from other places in this lineup outside of J-Rod that has gone, I think, quietly unnoticed or quietly unappreciated. But there's a reason that they're here right now. A big reason.
What is that big reason?
I think the big reason is what they've been able to do pitching-wise, and the fact that they have gotten performance and production from other places outside of just depending on J-Rod.
Yeah, I mean, depending on J-Rod is not necessarily a bad strategy.
No, but you're going to need help. Like there's no doubt that he's a guy, but if you don't have help around him, you know this, Jared, and Joe, you know this just watching your lineup play at times. If you don't have one guy in that lineup, or say you only have one guy in that lineup, that's the guy that gets circled, right? J-Rod doesn't beat us today. J-Rod doesn't beat us this series. Well, Joe, you know that when you've got a Acuna to account for, or an Ozzie to account for, or a Riley to account for, or a Matty-O to account for. I mean, the fucking list, Murph, the list goes on and on down there, right? So it's not like you're too worried if one of these guys is in an 0 for 15 stretch. No problem. 0 for 20, all good. We got 4 other dudes that can shoulder that load. And I don't want to say that hasn't been the case for the Seattle Mariners at times, because they have guys that they can kind of look on and lean on if J-Rod's not beating the world by himself. But the reason that the Mariners have been able to close the gap the way they have right now is because they've gotten help from everywhere outside of J-Rod as well.
The Seattle Mariners, since July 25th, have won 24 of 30. That is the best record in baseball. Over that same span, J-Rod hitting .398 with an 1145 OPS. Still not the best in baseball, because that Mookie Betts guy, he's hitting .449 with a 1279 OPS, which is that'll play. But you look at some of the other guys.
But I mean, like, think about Teoscar Hernandez.
328, 909 OPS over that same span, 29 games.
Well, and like over the last 2 weeks, I believe he's got the most homers on the team. Him and the big dumper.
Big dumper Cal Raleigh. You look at what Cal Raleigh's done. A 913 OPS over this same sample.
Yeah. How many days did you say that was, Jared? Since
this
when?
is July 25th. So about a 30-game sample.
So, yeah, we're talking over and I'm just talking about like the last 2 weeks here or so. So, I mean, these numbers, it's everything that I just said. That you're getting the production from guys like Teoscar Hernandez. You're getting production from a dude like Josh Rojas, right? I mean, Julio Rodriguez is on another planet because the dude's hitting north of 500. over the last 2 weeks or so, last month. Like, it's stupid. But to my point about why are they where they're at right now, it's because you're seeing stuff like that happen.
So, like, even like the starting pitching's been good. No, it's not great. Like, you're not going to look at it and be like, holy fuck. Like Logan Gilbert, a 295. They've all made 6 starts over this like 30 game sample where they've just fucking dominated everybody. 6 starts for Logan Gilbert. He's got a 295. 6 starts for Luis Castillo. He's got an even 3. George Kirby, 6 starts for him. He's got a 344. And then who am I missing? Oh, Bryce Miller. Yeah, Bryce Miller has like a 4 and change. So I mean, a 473
over his last 5 starts. Bryce Miller's got a 371.
So then that first start in this 6 start sample must have been a real stinker.
Yeah. Yeah. And remember, they got a guy in Munoz back as well who's helped in the bullpen. That dude, I've been talking about this dude for I feel like 3 years, and I don't know that people are still even aware of what this guy's capable.
He's unbelievable. He's filthy. I mean,
he's fucking
control
filthy.
Issues a little bit, but I mean,
yeah, sure, he'll spray it around, but it's he's fucking nasty, dude. He's nasty, but I feel like he's done a little bit better job of that over these last month or so.
Yeah. The thing about the Seattle Mariners too, though, like, as Dallas mentioned, he's in Seattle because they've got the A's, then they've got the Mets who have rolled over and died, the Reds, Rays, Angels who are dead, Dodgers, the A's again, the Rangers, who God knows if they're going to recover from this. Then they finish with Houston and Texas. So,
yeah, I feel their schedule's now getting a little harder.
Their schedule, it's
like the past 2 weeks,
a little bit
has been a cakewalk.
Yeah, they've got the opportunity to win the division is right in front of them because they've got the lead and they're going to have their games against Texas and Houston. They will have their opportunity to get some separation. But right now, it is the Seattle Mariners in first place, and they're a game ahead of the Rangers, and they're a game ahead of the Astros. So the sprint to the finish is on. What I mentioned this morning, and I think we talked about this on the last episode, about how like the Mariners are peaking right now. Maybe the Rangers have already peaked. The Astros have just kind of stayed consistent and just hovered around. They haven't had a lull period. They haven't had a period where they've been red hot. They've kind of just hung around. So maybe that's coming, or maybe their game is just slow and steady wins the race. I don't know.
Well, how you could look at how many of those teams have suffered a 3-loss streak or more, and how many times that has happened. I mean, that's some stuff that you got to dive into a little bit, but those are things that help a team like the Astros just kind of stay the course. Yeah. They understand that they have to stop those losing streaks. You can't have those. You can't have multiple stretches where we've lost 3, 4, 5.
The longest losing streak the Astros have had is 5 games.
And that was
recent? In June. Yeah.
That was in June.
But their longest winning streak was 8 games, and that was back in May. So it has been a minute since the Astros have been red hot like that.
But what that is a prime example of staying the course. We've never won more than 8 at a time. We've never lost more than 5 in a row. And I would venture to guess that 5 was, like you said, it's the longest streak, and that's not been duplicated.
Correct.
That's happened once. Yeah, so other times, there's going to be maybe a 4-game piece here, a 3-game piece there. But they're not having multiple of those moments every month.
No. All right, let me ask you guys this. Playoffs start today. All 3 of those teams get in. Mariners, Astros, Rangers. They're all in. What team is best suited to go the distance?
Probably the Astros.
Yeah.
Probably the Astros, man.
But
like the lineup,
I'm saying
the lineup is too deep, and they've got a great combination of starting pitching and bullpen.
But I'm saying the playoffs start today. So you're going to discount how hot Seattle is? Like, let's look at some of the teams that they've beaten
Do I get so playoffs start today? I don't get a the fully. Astros lineup is healthy. Right?
Is Jordan back
Altuve.
after the finger thing?
I thought he was back. Is he not?
I don't know.
back?
I haven't watched the Astros over the weekend.
Because if Jordan is not back, that affects my taking the team today decision probably.
He didn't play yesterday. Oh, he did. Yeah, he played yesterday. 2 for 6.
I thought he
3
did.
RBIs.
He played over the weekend.
Yeah, I think I still like
Okay.
the Astros, man.
Yeah, if you're just going to account for them being hot, I'd rather account for a team being stacked and winning the World Series last year and having good old Dusty Baker in there.
Yeah, I mean, look,
But that's what
the
you're
only
counting
thing-
on with the Mariners. The freaking X factor.
The Mariners.
Yeah, the only thing better than being really good going into the playoffs is being really hot.
But then it's
Going
also like,
right
just because you're hot going into the playoffs, does that mean that's gonna,
No.
no,
Yes.
but you're-
continue?
Yes.
Not always.
Yeah,
but you're
not
playing your best
always.
ball.
This is momentum. That
Not
momentum
always.
at the right
Look
time.
at what happened to the Dodgers last year. Like, they were hot as fuck. Then they run into the Padres and it's smell you later. See you later.
Or the
Or the
Braves.
Braves.
The Braves won the division they didn't lose a game basically for 2 weeks. I mean, they lost, but not a lot. And then beat the Mets, swept them, and it was all that, woo, then lost first round.
Now, the flip side to that, though, is let's say the team X, who's hot going into the playoffs, is playing a team that has done great all season long. The idea of being hot, though, when we start to go back to the production that the Mariners are getting from other places, like when you run into a Josh Rojas who's swinging the bat well, and you run into a Cal Raleigh who's just barreling shit up the last 2 weeks, and he's a big power threat, maybe more so now than he has been over the course of the first 5 months of the season. That's the value of playing a hot team or being a hot team going into the postseason, is you're just getting guys doing things that they probably weren't doing in June. And it's all happening at the right time. We got 3 dudes who are out of their mind right now. What's a better place to be than having a third of your lineup hot as fuck performing at a clip that they normally don't? Well, give me that in the postseason, please.
Mm-hmm. It's just hard to predict that. You never know when they're just going to. I mean, last year, the same thing with the Mariners. They went on a tear the second half of the year, then didn't score a run against the Astros.
Yeah, the hot streak, like we don't know when the hot streak comes to an end, right? The hot streak could be over today, and we don't know that until maybe one of the 3 guys gets a hit, and then tomorrow there's nothing.
Let's not forget the Mariners swept the Astros as a part of this hot streak that they've been on. So it's not like, oh, they got a light schedule and they're just hot right now. But if they run into a team like the big bad Astros, they did run into the Astros during this streak and they wiped the floor with them.
Yeah,
I don't know. I would be if the question is those 3 teams are in, which team could you see going all the way? I think I'm still leaning Mariners because on paper it makes sense. Like their bullpen, their lineup, their rotation, like check. And that's not to say that the
you mean Astros, right?
That's not to say
Mariners, really?
Like that's not to say
you like them on paper more than the Astros?
No, but I think that their recent stretch, like right now, if you look during the same period that the Mariners have gone 24-6, the Astros have gone 17-14. I just think it would be if you didn't pick the Mariners and then they went on to win the World Series, you would look stupid. Like, how could you not pick the Mariners? Like, look at how they're playing right now.
Yeah, I mean that's right now though, and my whole point is everything we're excited about right now could look very different 2 weeks from now.
Well, we mentioned the Dodgers, right? And how like, oh, you could be this great team and still get your teeth kicked in the first round. The Dodgers are an example of a team that it was over in July. Like when the division's a wrap and you're not playing for anything in September, it's easy to take your foot off the gas and just go into robotic mode where it's like, yeah, another win for the Dodgers. We're just going to show up and do what we do. But then you run into a team like the Phillies example, right? You run into the Phillies in the postseason, It's like they had to scratch and claw to get in. So they were in fight or die mode for a month leading into the playoffs. The Mariners right now, like 10 games out to 1 game up in first place, and then the playoffs start today. They're in that mode right now. They're in the mode that the Phillies were in last year.
Well, and there's a reason that gets you aroused, Jared, is because they are hot right now. Because they are fucking hot right now. And everything you just said about the Phillies, that's where if you can have a choice between having the division spoken for and having to fight and scratch and claw for the division victory, I think players will tell you, hand it to me on a platter. That's great. Okay, now you have your division. How would you like to go into the playoffs, though? Would you like to go into the playoffs a team who's super comfy and hasn't played competitive baseball in a month or so? Or would you like the juices flowing for each and every one of your guys? Would you like those guys going into the postseason seemingly coming off of a heavyweight title fight almost of emotion to get there? And now you feel good about how you've gotten there because you were able to trade blows. You were able to withstand maybe an onslaught. You got a big hit in one of those games in the series, and now you're ready to roll because you're like, boys, we are clicking on all cylinders. We got a great outing from a starter game 1. Bullpen came in and locked it down game 2. Game 3 was an absolute ass beating by our offense. We're doing everything right now. Here we go, boys. You'd like to be a part of that group too, where everybody's firing. So that's where the momentum heading into the postseason in a game of baseball can be viewed very differently. And just because you're hot through July and August and September, like you said, if you're not playing meaningful baseball, does that have an impact? Or if you're the Phillies last year who had to scratch and claw all the way there, do you feel like that benefits you as a group? So I think it really is about what motivates you and how you're motivated as a group at this time of the year.
I think that you can make an example for either or. Like there's definitely teams that have won 107 games and it was a cakewalk to get to the postseason. And you would think that they're kind of just like laid back going into October. Then they flip a switch and then they win the World Series. Like there's an example for all of it. Yeah, the Astros can do that. You know, there's the 2018 Red Sox. They won the division by like almost 10 games. And it's just like they were that good that they just they cleaned house when they were in the postseason. But yeah, there's something to be said about who's hot and who's in that fight or die mode, which the Mariners appear to be in right now. Before we move on from this subject, do you guys have the Mariners hanging on? Do the Mariners win the division now that they're in first place with a month to go?
Oh, man.
No?
I don't think so. No. I think, look, and I don't really have a good reason as to why they don't. Outside
you think
of
they've already peaked.
The Houston Astros are still in their division. Like it's just because there's things that should tell you that this could be sustainable over the next month. Like you'd like to think that what you're getting from the rotation is sustainable over the next month. And what you've gotten from the offense over the last 2 weeks to 30 days, if you're getting a portion of that, coupled with the performance that you're getting on the mound, you'd like to think that the Mariners could withstand whatever the Astros might have coming for them. Or if the Rangers can pull their head out and get going, who knows what that looks like? Because the Rangers are a team that can absolutely rattle off 10, just like the Mariners.
Joseph?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Astros will win it too, just because that's kind of always my default. Astros will win. Just like they're healthy now. Like they played the whole year without being healthy. Now they're getting healthy. And like we said this last podcast, it's like we're almost like restarting the season now. And remember when we started the season with all the Astros healthy, it was like easy answer. Obviously, everyone picked the Astros to win it. Now we're restarting. They're healthy again. I'm just going to default to that. Astros are going to win. It's going to be exciting. They're all playing each other. Last 2 weeks of the season, it's just Mariners playing the Astros, playing the Rangers. And it's going to be decided then.
Yeah.
It will be decided.
It's going to be fun. Like either way, it's gonna be fun. Like you're gonna have a 3-way race for the division in September, and it's gonna matter. Like adding the 3 wild cards has kind of taken away some excitement for the division because it's like, well, if we don't win the division, like we're still gonna get in because there's 3 wild cards. But the AL West coming down to potentially the last game of the season with 3 teams, you don't see that very often. Especially 3. Like if it was the AL Central, then we'd be like, all right, cool. It's a 3-team race, but who gives a fuck? Because like whoever wins that division, they're just going to get mopped in whoever they face. But you're looking at 3 teams
because
that
I feel
could
like
potentially win the World Series. Like this is not just about the AL West.
Well,
this is 3 World Series contenders.
That right there is exactly what I was just going to say. These are 3 teams that you could see standing when it's all said and done. These aren't just 3 teams that would be happy and lucky and fortunate to get in there. These are 3 teams that could absolutely dictate what it looks like.
So that'll be fun. That'll be a fun battle towards the end of the season. But college football fans, are you ready for week 1? DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking you up with a can't-miss offer to start the season strong. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on college football and score $200 in bonus bets instantly. Anything can happen in college football. Your team could go from unranked to dynasty mode in just a couple of years. Change comes fast. The only thing that's a lock is great offers from DraftKings Sportsbook. Life's more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Jared, Jared. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on college football, only on the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Jared. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms.
Like I said, loaded show today. Are we, since we're talking about the AL West, where is your concern level for the Texas Rangers? Because this is a meltdown. I don't want to call it a meltdown of epic proportions, but it's approaching that. I'm reluctant to say that it's like an all-time meltdown because no one here had the Rangers winning the division. I think we liked what they were doing, but no one was like, this is absolutely like this is the year they're taking down Houston. No one. I think we all picked Houston, but the slide that this team has been on since August 9th, I'm seeing is it's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate what's been happening here.
Yeah, August 9th. I mean, so what? Go back the last 2 weeks.
Let's see. August 9th. Today's the
A little longer than the last 2 weeks.
Texas Rangers have lost. Come on. There we go. The Texas Rangers have lost 11 of their last 16 games. 11 of 16.
Yeah, that's not great.
They were going into play. This is when they were playing the A's in Oakland. So the Oakland A's sent the Texas Rangers into a tailspin. They were 3 games up on August 8th. They were 3 games up on August 8th. That was over Houston. Like, we're not just looking at the Mariners because they had a 10-game lead on
Put it like this. Over the last 2 weeks, they have 2 players hitting 300 or better. One of those players only has 3 at-bats. That would be Austin Hedges, who's 1 for 3. And the other one would be Robbie Grossman, who's had 20 at-bats. over the last 2 weeks. Outside of that, Corey Seager is the closest to hitting 300. And yeah, he's hitting 298. He's got an OPS over 1,000. But there just hasn't been much else outside of that. Adolis Garcia, 577 OPS over these last 2 weeks. 159 he's hitting. Jonah Heim, all-star catcher, hitting 111.
Not good.
Like the offense just hasn't been what it has been.
And
at
that's been their
times.
strength.
And then I think, well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And the starters.
Well, that's
I think,
the other thing,
people are going to pile on the Texas Rangers and shit on them for this. Can we at least give them some credit that they hung in as long as they did, losing Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi? That's like if the 2004 Red Sox lost Pedro and Schilling and then still went on to do what they did.
Well, what you have to consider is that it was the performance of Eovaldi that, one, had him in the Cy Young conversation, and two, was a massive part of why the Rangers were on the run that they were on and having the success they were having. Is because you're having a Cy Young performance every fifth day out there from Eovaldi, who's setting the tone, right? I mean, Dane Dunning, don't sneeze at what Dane Dunning has been able to do in this rotation, considering where the help could have or should have been coming from outside of him, right? You got Martin Perez, you got Eovaldi, John Gray, you went and got Heaney.
I feel bad. But it's not over. I think here's the thing. Like, we had this conversation about the Seattle Mariners taking over the Texas Rangers for first place and blowing the Astros, and rightfully so. Very good baseball team. At no point in our discussion about who's going to take over the AL West when it's all said and done, no one mentioned the Rangers. They've been in first place all year. The conversation came down to who is it going to be, the Astros or the Mariners. The Rangers is like, we've had a bad 2 weeks. We've had a good season. It's almost September. We have had a good to great season for 4 or 5 months. We have a bad 2 weeks, and now everyone's picking between the Mariners and the Astros to win the division. Is that fair?
That's how this goes. I mean, you start to look up and down the lineup and you're wondering, all right, well, when's this going to pick up? When's this going to turn around? Then you look at the rotation and you're thinking, well, those are two guys. I mean, one of them we haven't counted in or factored in for the whole season in DeGrom. The other one, Eovaldi, he's down. Okay. Now what happens? Who steps up? Who does? So I think those have kind of been questions that have been in the back of our brain waiting to have to be answered. And now that they have to be answered, you haven't had an answer for those questions. And that's why we're at where we're at now with the Texas Rangers.
Think, like even when Eovaldi was healthy, me looking at like them having like the top rotation in the league was kind of like how, it was a lot. It was kind of suspicious.
Dane Dunning is their best starter right now.
Suspect list.
Dane Dunning, their best starting pitcher right now.
This is the latest update on Nathan Eovaldi.
And he's a beast, and we got to give him his flowers with his cool glasses.
Oh, I'm not taking shit away from him. I'm saying, that's not a knock on Dane Dunning. I'm not saying Dane Dunning is your best starter. I'm saying right now, Dane Dunning is your best starter, and we're talking about going to the postseason or winning a division. And Dane Dunning right now is your best starter. That is not how you started this season. That was not your outlook, that Dane Dunning was going to be leading the charge for your Texas Rangers into October. That was not the narrative. Nobody saw that story unfolding. This is
the latest update from the Dallas Morning News. Nathan Eovaldi apparently will not be ready to rejoin the Rangers rotation in New York. Eovaldi had some residual side discomfort following his last bullpen session. Any chance that Nathan Eovaldi would sneak into a return to the Rangers rotation before rosters can be expanded on September 1st appears to now be dead. Providing he has no further discomfort, He will throw another bullpen session on Tuesday in New York. After seeing how his body responds in the aftermath, the Rangers will make the next determination about whether he goes on a rehab assignment or returns to the active roster. So he'll throw again tomorrow, see how that feels. But Bochy said there's a little tightness, that's all. So we're just backing off a little bit so that this doesn't get worse. We don't want to have a setback.
Well, I can understand that. I can, because look, if you feel like you can bring him along and you can still stay within, striking distance, give yourself a puncher's chance here. Look, as much as I talk about, Dane Dunning being their best starter, if you feel like you can get an Eovaldi back and you've got a Max and Dane throwing the ball the way he's throwing right now, and you could throw Eovaldi in there, I feel like you got to be confident.
By the way, shout out to Connor, because I don't know if you've noticed, the Baseball is Dead Twitter account has been picking up steam. We brought in Connor to do our social for us. Big Texas Rangers guy.
Ooh, I saw. Actually, you know what? I did see that.
When did he start, Jake? Friday?
Yeah, I believe it was end of last week.
Okay, yeah. So he reached out. He's like, I want to help grow the BID brand. And he started tweeting up a storm from the official account, which is what? Baseball is Dead _ Jake?
Correct.
We need to... Who the hell has the account that is just like some random ass account that has Baseball is Dead without the underscore?
Yeah, I think it's some asshole that hasn't tweeted in like 10 years.
Yeah, the fuck. Well, we'll get it back. But yeah, Baseball is Dead _ is the Twitter handle. And Connor is tweeting up a storm over there. So go check out the Twitter for highlights and all that fun stuff. Big Texas Rangers guy. But all right. The Shohei Ohtani drama. Which, by the way, are you friends with this guy, Jeff something, that reported it? Yeah, you're friends with this guy?
Jeff Fletcher?
That's not what
he's a writer. Yes, I am. Yes. Just
okay.
I enjoyed.
I mean, him and I were cool, but he had a very sassy response to my tweet. So,
what did you say?
I
need you to outline the whole thing.
The tweet was
not just give me
Perry Minasian just revealed that the Angels offered. Well, how do you say it?
Now you say it.
Maniacin. Just but you don't fucking say. You say every word wrong. Shut the fuck up, Joe. Just revealed that the Angels.
Well, that's why I'm laughing at you.
That the Angels offered to do an MRI on Ohtani's arm after his cramping episode earlier this month, and Ohtani and his agent refused because they didn't think it was necessary. So I said, I don't know that throwing Shohei under the bus is the best strategy for the Angels if their long-term plan is to retain him in free agency. I could be wrong. And Jeff said, if I can find it, there's a bunch of replies. Do you...
Well, that's very interesting.
Well, how do you say it? Do you believe Maniacin? Is it Maniacin? How do you say it, Joe? Maniacin?
Yeah.
Do you believe Maniacin would say this without...
I hope.
What is it?
He doesn't know.
It's Maniacin.
What is it?
I'm pretty sure it is.
You know what it is, Dallas?
If it's not, like, I look.
So
I
one
thought
fucking... You guys
Minisant.
are laughing at me. No one fucking knows how to say this guy's name.
No one knows. I'm laughing at you two idiots not knowing, trying to tell each other how to say it.
The last person I'm going to take pronunciation recommendations from is fucking Joe.
Nice. Maniacin.
How do you know?
I thought it was
no one knows.
Maniacin.
Drop the Manasian. I like
it's
that.
Minasian. Manasian. That's... How do you pronounce that? Min Asian. Minasian. I mean, like, that's how that's... No, that's Min Asian. Yeah.
Jared, big compound.
Do you believe Minasian would say this without clearing it with Ohtani and his agent? So he was like clapping back at me, being like, oh, you think, like, bro, that's how you worded it. Perry Minasian just revealed that the Angels offered to do an MRI on Ohtani's arm after his cramping episode earlier this month, and Ohtani and his agent refused because they didn't think it was necessary. That reads very much like the Angels are getting a bunch of heat
hold on.
from Dallas's buddy Ben Verlander had like a whole spiel about like the Angels failed Shohei Ohtani and the Angels failed Major League Baseball, and this is their fault because
what?
Yes.
Are you serious right now?
Dallas is really pretending like he doesn't listen to Ben Verlander's podcast. That's like literally where you get your whole shtick from, dude. So Ben was saying how the Angels failed Shohei, the Angels failed Major League Baseball, and that Shohei, when he was cramping and all this, like he was telling you that he was hurt and he was telling you that he was failing and you need to protect athletes from themselves because the greatest athletes aren't going to tell you that they're hurt and you needed to protect. So he was blaming the Angels for the Shohei Ohtani injury. And then you have Jeff Fletcher said Perry Minasian just revealed that they told him to get an MRI and Ohtani and his agent refused. So I'm reading this and I'm like, all right, Angels are getting bombarded with criticism. So they're throwing Shohei under the bus by saying, hello, we told him to get an MRI and he said no. So that he had a very cunty response to me. Like, you presented it in a way, like you did not say, like,
well, there's one word. There's one word there. There's one word in his tweet. There's one word that could have been changed that would have made all of the difference in the world. He could have used the word declined, and that would have made all of the difference in the world. Instead, the word refused was used, and that makes it feel like there's almost a combative layer to this.
Well, also, this using the word revealed,
and Shohei's team is
using
going,
the word revealed means
that?
Like this was hidden and now it's in the open. If he said Perry Minasian shared
because it is
that the Angels offer, it's like, yeah, he shared with permission of Shohei. Like you have to indicate that Shohei and his agent knew that this information was going to come out, because otherwise it does look like you're throwing Shohei under the bus.
Now that we've got all of that out, I need you to think about it from this perspective. All right. From a business perspective and from an ownership perspective, from a GM perspective. If I have a player in-house that has already been through an injury like Tommy John, and we're well aware of how that player has bounced back and how he's recovered and what he's gone through, the ailments leading up to that first surgery. If I have that player in-house, that means I got a pretty good idea about this player and the goings on and how they operate, right? So now we are faced with a second scenario like this. And it's all surrounding the largest and most intriguing free agency of all time. And you are the owner of the team, or you're the general manager of the team that has that player on their team. So now how you're handling this player, how you're handling the business aspect of it, how you're handling it all is under a microscope. And so from the Angels' perspective, if I have an idea that there might be something up, there might be something that I want to look at with my player, I'm going to pursue that. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to bring it to that player's camp. Hey, we want to get a picture taken. We're not sure of how things are going. We want to put a game plan together on how to either take care of you, on how to rest you, on how to help you recover. But we need answers to the questions we have so we can move forward as a club. And if you might not like what those answers might be, if you don't like the image or images that those pictures might reveal, you might be hesitant to have those images taken. You might not want those answers to those questions because you might already know those answers to those questions. Why? Because you've been down this road before. You know what it felt like. You know what the road ahead looked like. So having me go get a picture taken right now and then having all of that information out there is absolutely going to affect the largest free agent pursuit in baseball history. Because if you now have answers to the viability or lack of viability to this player's arm, elbow, back, shoulder, whatever it might be, now that's going to impact the dollars of this whole situation. So from a player's perspective, if I know I'm ailing or if I know that there might be something up, buddy, let's hold off on those. All right. I'm going to power through it. We can rehab. Let's just rest and recover. Let's figure out a way to get me out there without having to go that route. That sounds a little aggressive. And that's my way of keeping any potential information that can be held against me in the free agent term. That's my way of keeping that information under wraps, disclosed. Because if I don't get the x-ray to tell you that I have a broken arm, I can never tell you that I have a broken arm. You can never tell me that I had a broken arm. I don't know what you're talking about. Prove it.
I just think it's weird to present it as if the Angels were throwing Shohei under the bus and then get mad when people interpret it that way, because everyone interpreted it that way. That happens with me a lot. That happens with me a lot. Well, someone will tweet something and I'll have a reaction to it, which is the reaction that most everyone has, but I'm the guy that gets responded to.
It's those words. That's why, and I know that's why you asked, hey, do you know Jeff? Do you like Jeff? And it's because, and I would have no problem saying that to Jeff. Like, Jeff, you understand why people got fired up because, revealed kind of makes it feel like there was something up the sleeve and it's a card that gets played late. But that's why I wanted to lay out for you what I like Jared, let's say that I'm your stud.
My stud.
I'm your star pitcher, but I'm just not who I am. I'm not who you think I am. And I'm telling you, dude, arms barking. Like we know shit is not great. Okay. All right. Well, Dallas, we want to get you an image taken. We want to figure out where you're at. And I'm like, you know what, Jared? I don't think that's the best idea, man. Like I feel good about where I'm at right now. I feel confident about where I'm at right now. Let's just get through this already lost season and we'll figure it out later. And in the back of your mind, you're like, yeah, but dude, like you're not going to be on my team next year, maybe. And if I'm thinking about keeping you on my team, I'd like to know what's going on with you. And I'm not going to be able to do that later, not until we already hit the negotiating table. And now we're doing MRIs and physicals to secure the $500 million I'm going to offer you. Because you're on my team right now, I have the luxury of getting those answers before everybody else. So I'm going to want those answers. And that's what you want. But your player, am telling you, no, dude, I'm not going to give you the opportunity
who's in the wrong here?
To have those
answers. Who's in the wrong here?
So now, it's not necessarily, that's the thing. We have to think about this level-headed all the way through because it's not necessarily about who's in the wrong. This is the business aspect of this game at the highest level. If I'm hurt and I don't want you to know that I'm hurt and I know that could be held against me, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. If you know that I'm hurt or you think I might be, you are going to do everything you can as an owner to get those answers because you don't want to have to go to the negotiating table with unanswered questions that could absolutely impact how much money you're willing to give me and for how long you're willing to have me on your team. Think about what happened with Correa and the ankle. You had multiple teams look at an injury pre-existing that had them feel strongly enough to move off of their offer and say no thanks. Were those teams wrong for doing that, for wanting to make sure?
No.
I don't think anybody thought those teams were wrong for that. So that's where the Angels sit right now with the game's greatest player and the most intriguing free agency on deck. Is the Angels don't want to be, they already feel like they're left with their dick in their hand right now, right? No playoffs.
It's a disaster.
Ohtani, maybe nothing in return for him.
They went for it, but like I said last week when this first happened, I think the injury drastically increases their chances of retaining him, even if it is on a short deal. I do think that that's the case, but you're going to get paid to rehab with the team that you're familiar with. Yeah, somebody, sure. Why not? Not that the fucking medical staff has a glowing reputation at this point, but.
Well, so much so that you have that player, Ohtani, going, I don't need your pictures taken. I'm good. Like, I'll get him. If we're going to get him, I'll have somebody else take
You're
him.
a big Shohei Ohtani guy. What's been your read on this situation with the refusing of any type of extra look at what was going on in there.
I don't know. I don't really know how this stuff works. I think that's interesting what Dallas is saying. Like, if he got that MRI on his elbow, on his arm, would that just be between him and the Angels, or was he worried about that being out for other teams, or just the Angels? Right?
Those medicals get disclosed. So if you're interested, you call.
Wouldn't
the first
that
step
be?
is
Wouldn't
medicals.
that be like in the case
Let
of
me
a
get the
trade? It's like, hey, if I'm gonna trade for this player, then I get to see the medicals. But in free agency, that's why they do the physical before the deal becomes official. So they wouldn't see the medicals from the Angels if it was a free agency case.
No, right. But that's why I gave you the example of, let's say the Angels get to the end of this with no imaging. They didn't get the pictures from Ohtani. Now they're at the negotiating table. Still no pictures from Ohtani. Now we've agreed on the deal.
Yeah.
Still no pictures from Ohtani. Now the contract's in front of you to sign for $1 billion. Just before you sign that, you know what we're going to need?
Right.
We're going to need them medicals. We're going to need them pictures. So
you
we're going to get them.
They have to wait until the contract.
In a free agency case, yeah.
But they wait until the contract's basically like a handshake. Like
that's what happened with Correa.
Correa was in his fucking suit.
Now, like that's
Correa was literally dressed for the press conference when what was it? The Giants were like one of the teams that like signed him but didn't end up signing him. Yeah, I think it was the Giants. He was in his fucking suit ready for the press conference, and they were like, actually, you know what?
So, I'm telling you, everything I just said, that's why it's happening this way. That's why it's happening this way. And it's all surrounding the money.
But if you're Shohei, you're saying if he gets it done now, maybe his arm's tired, it's going to look worse than if he gets it done in a few months.
If it's like inflammation, like it could be a situation.
The MRA. No, I'm saying the
so there's I mean, honestly, Joe, there's a couple different ways you could think about that. Like if I've got something going on, maybe I get the image done now. You want to know why? Inflammation, fluid buildup might not reveal what's actually going on. So that's why after an injury, they want to let the injury subside. They want to let the swelling go down. Why? So they can get a better image, because the fluid could very well hide some small tears, a grade 1 strain might go unnoticed because there's a lot of fluid, which is just a minor tear, but it's a tear nonetheless. So a grade 1 strain could go unnoticed, but you let that fluid seep back into the body, you let the body recover that, and now you've got a freshly injured site with no fluid around it that you can get a clean image of.
Well, I believe when the MRI was put on the table by the Angels, that was when he was having finger cramps. So the story is kind of like, why would I need the MRI? I'm having finger cramps. And the Angels were kind of like, well, try it.
Yeah, I mean, the cramping, because that's where, all right, and this is, we're getting, super deep into medical stuff, but cramping, is that a nerve conductivity issue? If so, we need to take a look at the nerves. We need to take a look at the ulnar nerve. We need to take a look at the UCL. We need to take a look at your elbow. Get the picture taken. Is it something in the shoulder that's, starting to run down the nerve? Let's get a look. But if we don't have an image, if we don't have pictures to take, all I can tell you is, I don't know, rub your fingers together. I don't know what's going on. I can't help you, man. If you don't want to get the pictures taken, I don't know what to tell you. But if you want to get the medical procedure done so that we can help you moving forward, let's do that. But Ohtani's like, you know what? That sounds great on the surface, but I know what those medical reports are ultimately going to be used for. So maybe not.
A lot of drama. We had already labeled the Shohei Ohtani free agency sweepstakes as we know it's going to be the most fascinating scenario in baseball history. It might be the most fascinating in sports history. I think it's going to become even more so now that this has happened. Like, it just adds another layer of complication. Before, it was almost embraced, celebrated layer of complication where it's like, okay, he's a two-way player. How long is he going to be able to do this for? He pitches every 6 days, right? So it's like any team that he would join, it kind of, I don't want to say disrupts because he's a frontline guy. Like it's a nice, it alters how you would construct your rotation. So there was so many different elements to it. And now it's good luck. Good luck to the teams trying to figure that the fuck out, because that is going to be quite the difficult process. But could it be worth it? Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not? It's Shohei Ohtani. So we'll see. But the playoffs are just around the corner. So it is time to help your team out by sticking to your lucky rituals, like the ritual of enjoying an ice cold Blue Moon while the game is on. Blue Moon was born in a ballpark, first brewed at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Make it your one-of-a-kind baseball tradition, whether you're at the park or if you're watching from home. Had some Blue Moons with my dad at Fenway on Saturday. Went to the game. He was watching the horses, but we were enjoying some ice cold Blue Moon at Fenway. Nice little 4:00 start on a Saturday. Beautiful way to spend your Saturday with its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander. Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for the new season. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that's one of a kind? Its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer experience perfect for spring weather. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful bright color. A beer this good only comes around once in a Blue Moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Brighten up your baseball traditions with Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale. It's one of a kind every time. Check out shop.bluemoonbrewingcompany.com for baseball merch and visit get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket to find Blue Moon delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket. Blue Moon, made brighter, celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale. What is next on the docket here today, fellas? The Brandon Lowe comments about the New York Yankees. Did you hear this?
Yeah. What I heard and all of that was
right,
and it's still fucking
here it is from
Chapman.
Brandon Lowe after there's a little spat. Randy Rosarena got thrown at, didn't like it. Then he stole second and third. The Yankees didn't like it. Rays win 7-4. Here's Brandon Lowe.
Got to talk about the end there. It did get a little bit of chippy. Obviously, we saw the dugouts clear a couple times after Randy was hit by the pitch. Not the only hit by the pitch today or this season series. You guys have been hit 12 times. Did it feel like that was going to boil over and a little bit understandable?
Obviously, tempers flare. The history that we do have with the Yankees, everything that's kind of come through, obviously probably does play a part in it, but looking at it, it's a last place team against a team that's in contention.
Oh!
Trying to ignite something over there, whatever. Not worth our time at this moment. We're focused on bigger things right now than worrying about a little on-field scuffle. We need each game. They're not really in each game.
Oh! Oh, shit!
Oh, that was just a couple of backhands, a couple of forehands across the face, a ball drag over the forehead
God
there at the end.
Damn, Brandon Lowe.
Yeah. Yeah. He basically said, no, it's not that big of a deal because we're going to the playoffs and they're just still on the schedule, so they have to play the games. No, we're not too concerned with that. He had been waiting for an opportunity to just throw every bit of shade at them without having to, and it finally came. They gave him the mic, and he did not disappoint.
That was perfectly executed. There's ways to say fuck you and fuck this team without being an egregious douchebag. And Brandon Lowe just put on a masterclass. That is exactly how you do it. Yeah.
Nailed it. Didn't because none of it is false. None of it is untrue. It's all extremely accurate. And that has to sting.
Well, because he's not wrong. So if he just says that
has to sting because no, and he's just demeaning the entire franchise, right? You're not even close. We're two teams heading in opposite directions. We know what we're all about. This other club here, you can understand why they're angry. I mean, look at how their season's gone. Like, he's just pointing out fact after fact after fact. And you're like, damn, I wish I could be like, no, that's not true.
Right.
But
Like,
it's,
how are you going to sit there
it's all true.
and say, man, that was really over the line there, what you just said? It's like, all he said was factual statements. He said, this is a last place team, not really something we're concerned with. They're not going to the playoffs. We are. So it means more to them than it does to us. Like, that was like them getting into a scrap with us was basically their World Series, which is sad. We feel bad for them. We send our condolences to the Yankees clubhouse.
Yeah, that was Notre Dame going 1-12, but beating Michigan. Like, hey, we'll take it.
Yeah, that's tough. You, Joe, you a Brandon Lowe guy? It's not.
It's Lowe. Of course, I'm a Brandon Lowe guy. I'm kind of confused. Like, didn't the bench is clear like
Twice?
How many times this?
As far as I know, yeah, that's what I saw.
Twice, and it was just because the Yankees keep hitting them.
It's like 12
and
to 2.
Is there a reason why the
this
Yankees
year? Like the Rays have been hit by the Yankees 12 times. The Rays have hit the Yankees twice, and Randy didn't like it, and he took a while to take first base, so the bench is cleared. And then he stole second and he stole third. When he stole third, he kind of like looked out at the pitcher and was like, what do you think now? And then the bullpens get into it, and it's a whole thing. And yeah, these teams haven't liked each other for quite some time. So,
yeah, man. When
why?
Does this
why
end?
can we need these? We need two representatives. The minute that this happens, maybe it's Randy.
I mean,
and maybe it's a dude on the whoever.
Yandy
Let's go.
Diaz
hook him up
versus Giancarlo Stanton. That's like Hulk Hogan versus The Rock.
I want it all. I want every bit of it.
That would end in at least.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I saw Yankee fans
Yankees.
tweeting out like, "Oh, we're the last team you want to brawl with," and tweeting out pictures of Stanton and Judge like those dudes wouldn't disintegrate in a fight.
Right? They can barely play 2 weeks worth of baseball without getting.
Jared, now that you have a little bit better understanding of the individual, where would Tommy Pham rank on your list of people
Probably
that you
right
would
at the
want
top.
on your team?
Like, there's dudes that look like they can fight. There's dudes that might be able to fight, but maybe they don't want to go down that road. Tommy Pham looks the part, and he is the part, and he's looking for a fight. Like, he wants you to give him a reason. That's just a very scary combo. Yeah.
Yeah, not the first dude you want to be fucking with.
No, it's truly not. It's just...
Yeah, I think this is just a big boil over from Lowe nailed it. Yankee season down the drain. Things have not been well in that clubhouse, on the field for a long time, and you're playing a team who it almost feels like the Yankees are looking at the Rays like damn, did we swap places? Like, this used to be the Rays. The Rays used to be talked about like, where's their season going? They can't figure it out. Like, that's not the case now. And now it's the Yankees, the evil empire, who are in last place, having an expansion team.
Yeah.
Talk shit to them.
By the way, we forgot to do the fucking parlay, mostly because I don't know why we have college football reads when it's a baseball podcast, but we need to do the parlay.
College football just started.
Baseball playoffs are about to start next month. I feel like the people listening are probably like, yeah, no, I agree with that. Baseball. Okay. Do you have Joseph? You don't have a pick, do you? You do? All right, go first. What's your pick?
Well, me? Yeah, I do.
No,
you
look
like a guy didn't have a pick.
I was just testing you. What is it?
I got a pick. Braves run line. Braves weren't run line. They're playing the shitty Rockies
like that, dude.
and they're facing Gomer. Okay, the Rockies
Isn't it
aren't shitty, but
Gomber?
Gomer is. All right, so we're facing Gomer, and
Dude, you don't know how to
Shut
say
the fuck
anybody's
up,
name.
dude. I'm trying to
There's
pronounce
a B
words.
in there, isn't there?
I'm trying to
Correct me
pronounce
if I'm
words
wrong. Is there
right.
a B in there?
And Gomber or Gomber. Who knows? Listen, Dallas doesn't know. Jake doesn't know.
I think I do know.
Jared doesn't know.
I know.
There's one person who knows, and that's him.
Gomber?
And he's not on the podcast right now. Whatever, bro. After tonight, whatever I say his name is his name, because the team that I like the most is going to score a lot of runs off him. So obviously I own Gomber. I own him. So I'm going to put all my money I ever had responsibly on the Braves to win by more than 1.5 runs. Also, because we're in Coors Field, all right, home Blue Moon, where Blue Moon was made. Ever heard of it? All right. And the Braves hit more home runs than, wait for it. Who did the Braves hit more home runs than? Oh, every single major league team in the history of the Major League Baseball. Thank you. All right. So we're in Coors and Gomer. We're going to hit a lot of home runs. And guess who's on the mound for the Braves? Elder. What does he do? Ground balls. Elder. Sinkers, change ups, ground balls. So he's not going to give up any home runs in Coors Field. They need to change it. Blue Moon Field. I'm going to call it that. We're in Blue Moon Field and Braves minus 1.5.
Dallas, what's your leg here?
I've been bouncing back and forth between these two. Got Taijuan Walker on the bump for the Phillies against the Halos and Lucas Giolito. I like the Phillies money line there, minus 142. Giolito, he's thrown the ball better in his last few outings. Taijuan Walker also throwing the ball well. I like the Phillies offense a little better than I like the Angels offense. And then I've also been kicking around Grayson Rodriguez. I believe let me go back because I think it's at 5.5. He's squaring off against the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox, I think, are like 10th or 11th in baseball in strikeout rate. But Grayson Rodriguez is coming into his own here lately. And so I've been thinking about maybe the Grayson Rodriguez strikeout prop because I mean, look, it's at 5.5. 5.5. Do we want to go personal performance? Or do we want to go?
I want you to get it
team?
right. Is really how we would do.
Both.
Yeah. Then I think we go Taijuan Walker, brotherly love, Phils over the Halos, and that is
okay.
That's a done. Money line, Phils, Halos.
Jake, what was Jay Hayes' pick?
Phillies.
Jay Hay took Padres money line.
Oh, see, and the other that's a good call. I thought about the Padres money line as well. The only thing, this is my dumb baseball romantic brain getting in the way. Adam Wainwright and his pursuit for 200 at home.
No, he doesn't.
Does he get one step closer? I don't know. Because Blake Snell's punching out fucking
terrible.
7, 8, 9 guys a damn outing these days, but he's only going 5, 6.
He's terrible. My
so
leg
maybe the
of
Cardinals
the
are-
baseball is dead parlay. Juan Soto, 2+ total bases, going against Adam Wainwright in his 8.61 ERA. Juan Soto on the year, 9th in Major League Baseball in slugging percentage against right-handed pitching, going up against perhaps the worst right-handed pitcher in baseball, next to Luis Severino. 527 slug against right-handed pitching this year, Juan Soto. So Juan Soto, 2+ total bases is the pick. Speaking of the Padres, we got a few things to talk about in regards to the Padres. Starting with Dallas's guy, Bob Melvin, had a quote had a quote yesterday. There's really no reason to even look at the standings at this point in time, Melvin said. It's just keep playing. Keep playing and hope that something breaks that we haven't been able to do basically the entire season. And entering play today, the San Diego Padres are pretty much the same amount of games back in the wild card as they are in the division, I think. Or no, I lied about that big time. They're 20 games out in the division. And in the wild card, they are 8 games out, which is ironic, right? Because not to throw shade at my guy, Xander Bogaerts, but Xander Bogaerts, about a month ago, when the San Diego Padres lost the series to the Washington Nationals, I bet at this point it's 2 months ago, the Padres lost a series to the Washington Nationals, and Bogaerts said, come on, man, we're playing the Nationals. Well, entering play today, the San Diego Padres have the exact same record as the Washington Nationals. And hurts big time. And this is per, is it Codify or Codify? I keep asking that. Codify. Per Codify on Twitter.
Codify.
Since Xander Bogaerts said, come on, man, we're playing the Nationals. The Nationals are 31-21, and the Padres are 24-28. Also, to go back to August 5th. August 5th, the San Diego Padres had they were playing good ball for a decent stretch there, and they got to 1 game under 500. They were 55-56. They were 1 win away from a 500 record, and we'll see where they go from there. That was back on August 6th. They have since lost 14 of 20. They got to 1 game under, and then they lost 14 out of 20.
Hey, stop it. Stop it. Let's just have this conversation right now. Are the San Diego Padres in danger of becoming the Chicago White Sox?
What, in terms of like toxicity?
In terms of some of the richest talent, and when I say rich, I mean double-edged, but just one of the deepest talent pools as far as one team is considered in baseball. In baseball, there's no way this roster should be bringing up the tail end of a division. I don't give a shit what division you're in. There's just no way. There's no way. Like, what is going on? And that's why I asked.
I think the difference is.
What's the difference, Joe?
The difference is that these guys who the Padres have signed, I mean, they're not playing amazing, but they're not that bad. Like Soto's having a great year. Tatis, could be better, but still like an above league average hitter. Machado obviously could be better, but they're not like the White Sox. You look at all the guys they had signed up, they all just fell off a cliff. There's not like one guy in the lineup or anyone really. You look at the Padres and like, wow, what happened to him? He sucks now.
So thank you. Thank you for saying that, because that begs the question even more. If you have these players who are performing adequately, even adequately, why are they in 4th place? And is that where you tell me, well, look at the division? Is that what you're telling me? Like the Dodgers, okay, but you don't have what the Diamondbacks have? You can't do that? You don't have what the San Francisco Giants have? You can't do that? I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that, because I'd like to think that those 2 teams that I just mentioned would love to have some players on your team if you're the San Diego Padres. Why are you in 4th place? Why are the White Sox with their team in the position they're in that division? Well, as we have come to find out, it's because it is an absolutely terrible and toxic environment.
I see what you're
to
saying
play baseball
with like the 2 teams that have or had cores that were young and super talented, but yeah, the expectations for the Padres
Jared, expectations
were
as well.
astronomical. astronomical.
through the roof. And they put him on themselves as well. You got what, 2/3, 3/4 of the star power there saying, buddy, we'll see you in October. Not once, and not twice, and not, like we get all that. But so it's expectation that they have tried to meet. It's expectation that they have put on themselves. And the Chicago White Sox, it didn't feel like they were ever like beating their own drum to that extent, but there was a lot to be excited about. And for whatever reason,
I can't believe that the floor fell out. Been. Like they have Josh Hader in the back end of their bullpen. They've got Blake Snell, who's been absolutely dealing. I know like the Musgrove injury stuff like that hurts a lot. Yu Darvish, Yu Darvish contract is going to be a fucking joke, dude. Like they signed him until he's like 47 and he's already regressing big time. Like they just threw a bunch of money at a bunch of guys. And I mean, for the most part, the players that they pay, what was the contract that they gave Jake Cronenworth? Like they've given contracts to so many fucking dudes that are astronomical in size and in payment that I like almost forget that they probably have like a handful of the worst contracts in baseball. And they've signed them all in like the last year, less than a year. Yeah. What's the Jake Cronenworth
in the
contract?
last 5 years? Like fucking, like, why do I want to say 5 for 7?
Jake Cronenworth.
I mean, that's not even close, but
Jake Cronenworth is hitting 229 with us. They signed him for 7 years,
80 million.
And he's 7-year deal.
7-year 80.
He's hitting 234 with a 708 OPS over the last 2 years. He has a 689 OPS this season. Like that contract is fucking horrible. The Yu Darvish contract, horrible. Like, the Xander Bogaerts contract,
it seems like the San Diego Padres,
horrible. But I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. They basically went all in. I don't know. They went all in on a roster that had no proven like this. What they did is what some teams, they fall into the trap after a team wins a World Series and they're like, let's keep the band together forever. Let's just fucking run it back and run it back and run it back. They did that with a roster that didn't even have a winning record. Like they achieved nothing together. And they were like, you know what? Let's keep this roster together for the next fucking decade, baby. Let's run this back for the next 10 years. This roster right here, this fucking 450 winning percentage team. Let's run it back until we die. It made no like, and I get like, you know, there are some decisions where a team has to overpay to get the player. Like I think we saw that with the Red Sox with Masataka Yoshida. Like maybe some teams felt like he could get 60, he could get 70. The Red Sox were like, boom, here's 90. It's like, okay, you go over a little bit just to make sure that you get the player. Like there's a decent field bidding for said player. The Yu Darvishes and the Jake Cronenworths of the world, like, did you really need to do that? No.
Nobody.
No. And Xander Bogaerts, like,
for them.
Okay, you like the player, you want the player, he wants to stay in Boston. Boston's probably going to meet his number, maybe at least be in the neighborhood. All right, take that number, fucking double it. They doubled the years and the dollars to get Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah.
I love Xander Bogaerts. Probably no bigger fan of Xander Bogaerts than me right here. Is he the player that you double the best offer to ensure that you get the player? No.
I don't know that any player, Jared, at the age of Xander Bogaerts at the time, even considering his production, I don't believe that any player, and I'm going to say this as the biggest player homer there is, I don't believe that any player is going to be worth double the length and the money of whatever contract he's being offered in free agency. Double, twice is better. Twice is still like 30 teams got together and were like, this is where we got him valued. And one team was like, yeah, but twice that, right? And everybody's going, hold on, what do you mean twice that? Like we have the one, no, it was 5 years maybe
Yeah.
200. And now you're talking 11, 13 years.
I can't
for
believe
300. What?
I can't believe. Sure. Like on paper, this team should have been a winning team at the very least. Like maybe we're not talking about all the World Series titles that Tatis was talking about, because those are names we haven't even mentioned. Machado, Tatis, Soto, like those guys are the reason why we look at the Padres and see championships, plural. Tatis, Soto, Machado.
Well,
but then you talk about all the other complementary pieces that they just spent a fuck ton of money on unnecessarily. And now you're sitting here thinking, okay, if they can't win with those three together, how do you fix this? Because those are the guys. I guess Soto is the guy and probably the best on the team. Like that's the guy that you're not stuck with. And I'm fine being stuck with Tatis, and I'm fine being stuck with Machado.
Well, look no further.
But you're not stuck with Juan Soto. So like you've already had your peak in terms of like this is probably the best collection of talent that we're going to see, and then we're going to get worse. But then we're going to have to pay more. How do we make the pieces fit? Like it's a disaster.
Well, at least they have a guy at second base that they can build around. 4 years, $28 million.
Yeah.
Step on up, Ha-Sung Kim, who as
Is
of
he,
right
he's
now
still
is
leading the team in
arguably
WAR, or
their
did Soto
best
pass him?
player.
Soto had to have passed him. Yeah, but still, I mean, if he's not first,
Soto
he's
might
definitely
have
second.
passed him, but I'm telling you right now,
That's Ha-Sung Kim.
He's first. Yeah, he's a very good player.
Yeah.
He's first.
Yeah.
is he? Love that. Love that.
And then also look at Waka.
Yep.
Like they just got an insane year out of Waka out of nowhere.
And they
Like,
got
you
him on a
Ha-Sung
good
Kim
deal.
and
Michael Waka signed with the
killing
Padres on a
it.
good deal. I think it was like $4, but like the AAV was like $6 or $8 million.
Well, you got Ha-Sung Kim.
Michael Waka.
You got Ha-Sung Kim over the life of his contract, making less per year over the life of his contract than Juan Soto makes, than Fernando makes, than Manny makes. 4 years, $28 million. That's all you got to pay Kim. Each and every one of those dudes I just named is making north of that per year.
Yeah, this team doesn't make any sense in any way. Just because, like, you got Blake Snell, who's like could be Cy Young. You got Michael Waka with an ERA under 3 out of nowhere, and you got Ha-Sung Kim being one of the best. It's like top 5 in the league in WAR, baseball reference. Like these guys are coming out of kind of nowhere, other than Blake Snell. You'd think they'd be a good team going in, and also they got the 5th best run differential in the National League. Somehow they are. What? How many games back? 6 games? 8 games under 500 with a 56 plus win differential. It doesn't add up at all. Nothing adds up.
It makes me sad.
Man,
I mean, I guess the thing you could point to is Tatis and Machado having down years to their standards. Both of them haven't hit well. When you want them to be like leading the league in OPS, they're in the 700s.
Manny go on that tear where Manny's like for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You're like, has there ever been anybody better at baseball than Manny Machado?
And he absolutely lost his shit in the dugout too. Do you see that?
Yeah, water cooler took him on the chin.
I'm not like we're not Padres trolls. Like I feel like they definitely have people that are enjoying their downfall, which rightfully so. I mean, if you go all in like that and then you call your shot, who are we going to play in the World Series? It doesn't matter because we're going to win anyway. And like if you do shit like that, you kind of deserve all the hate coming your way once you guys fall flat on your face. I'm not going to be one of those guys, but
the baseball gods don't have any patience for that shit. No, I mean, I watched Cole Irvin 3 years ago spout off and say some shit about a Seattle Mariner team that he probably shouldn't have said. Admittedly, he shouldn't have said it. Mm-hmm. And the Mariners have been paying him back ever since.
It's hard to feel bad for him. It's hard to feel bad for it when you celebrate the championship in January or whatever it was.
Especially in baseball. It doesn't matter because we're going to win anyway. You can't say shit like that.
I get like getting caught up in the moment.
Say shit like that.
Getting excited, but you can't.
Hey, say that shit round 1 in October, right? Like, because you're there and like, that's one thing. I get it. I'm here for that. That's fine.
Mhm.
Rile it up. Let's get the folks going,
It's also,
right? Fire up the boys, Joe.
It's
Cut the proverbial
it's also
mohawk
easy to
into your
forget
head.
that they.
But let's wait till October.
Yeah, put it in the group chat.
Put it.
It's
put it
easy
in the
to
group
forget
chat.
that they were in the NLCS last year because the story was always the Phillies. Like that was the Padres that they went through.
Forget.
I don't
didn't forget.
I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable. That's the word. Like the Padres going all in like that and the season that they've turned in to this point genuinely makes me uncomfortable. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to talk about that if we don't have to.
Something weird about it. Anyways, plenty of seats still available at Petco. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for all the fun that you'll have. Again, went to Fenway over the weekend. Shout out to Game Time. Had great seats behind home plate up in State Street Pavilion. Shout out to State Street Pavilion at Fenway. Great place to go watch a game. You can get those tickets at Fenway using the Game Time app. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means that you'll always get the best price if you find tickets in the same section and row for less. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you are set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone so you never have to dig through your email. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use the promo code Jared, Jared, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Use the promo code Jared for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today and last-minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. Man, what a loaded show for you guys today. Man, the grave diggers, they've gotten quite the show. Joe, any comment on Mookie Betts jumping Ronald Acuna Jr.?
I got Tim my cap, good player, but as we've seen a lot of MVP races we've seen throughout the year, a lot of times, is Corbin Carroll.
Mookie Betts has won one though.
He could be MVP.
If you were to bet on it right now, you're still putting money on Acuna.
And now it's Mookie Betts.
Are you doing that?
Now it's Mookie Betts. Yes.
So you're gonna bet Acuna to win the NL MVP as a dog now. Yeah.
As a dog. See, I find that hard to believe that he's a dog. I don't want to. I guess I believe you, but that is, I put.
Look it up on the DraftKings Sportsbook, Joe.
I am looking it up.
The real conversation is: have you identified the seller of the Estuary Ruiz jersey that you're going to owe me when Esty eclipses Ronnie for the stolen bags? Even after a month and a half on the shelf. That's what you should be worried about, Joe. Kelly Green.
That is because they don't make those jerseys. You're going to have to get them custom made somewhere, find a guy under the table because it's not like they're selling those.
Are they?
You come to the Coliseum, they're selling them.
Man, have you seen that? Do you see that TikTok? That guy's like goes to the Oakland Coliseum. Let me see if I can find a player who's like they look at all the jerseys. And he saw 60 jerseys before he found one with an actual player still on the team.
And how about that player? That player was traded 3 days after that video. He might have been traded before that video, actually, Joe.
They're probably the Coliseum probably just sells Dennis Eckersley and Reggie Jackson jerseys.
We have a whole section of game used jerseys. You could just go through turnstiles, or not turnstiles, but just the little.
Do they sell your jersey in the pro shop?
People from. I do not think we sell
obviously
jerseys.
not any active players, but I'm saying where I was getting at was I bet if they had, because in the Red Sox team store, they have like some of the players on the team, but then they also have like some of the like Yaz and Ted Williams and all that. Like you can buy Red Sox legend jerseys as well. If you went into the A's Pro Shop and they had like active players, but they also had Dallas Braden jerseys, my bet you would probably rank like top 3 in jersey sales. That's true.
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
if that's,
okay, but if it was a thing that you had going on, I
I
would place money on you being a top 3 jersey seller for the A's this year.
Well, I know there'd be 2 buyers on the East Coast
and
for
Jake.
sure. 4 buyers then for sure.
No.
You can ask.
I'm not. No. Just I would probably get a couple just in case I ripped one, working out. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's right.
Yep, probably.
That's right.
In the
Still
Rocket
have to
Performance
listen
Center.
to your interview that you did with YP.
With YP. It was a good one. He wanted to verbally assault you for like the better part of 10 minutes.
Verbally assault me? He owes me his life.
My guy, you see how I defend him? And there's a good chance he owes me some things too after the conversation we had together. Like you want to talk about having to get a guy back on track, get him headed on the right track.
He was
definitely on
a
track.
I
don't
March,
know if that's the right track.
And he interviewed me for no shorter than 9 hours. Like we did like a 9-hour podcast, and I was like, bro,
Jared,
what are we doing?
Yeah, I was late I was taking the girls to the museum, and like there was an exhibit open, and by the time we set out, I just looked at my watch. I was like, well, there's no fucking chance we're going to the Reagan Library today. YP was like, yeah, no, man. It was like, hey, you know what?
That's the last time
you do what you got to do.
I'm agreeing to make content with him because it was, I'm not even exaggerating. We sat, like I had to call timeout multiple times. I was like, bro, mercy. This is ridiculous how long it took to do that interview. But yeah, I'll have to check out what I can only assume is a heavily watered down interview that you did with YP. Yeah.
Yes.
What else do we have on the docket here? I
wanted to address
that's cool.
The Verlander-Miggy exchange. Because that's a moment in time where it's the heat of competition, but one guy understands there's no heat from him, that being Miggy. Verlander understands where he's at in his career. Both guys, 10 minutes after they retire, they should just have them in the Hall of Fame. That's just how that should go. So for them to hook up on the field and have that exchange, that acknowledgement, the tip of the cap, literally the tip of the cap, just a head nod. And those are moments that I hope young baseball fans, when they watch those, they have somebody that's watching the game with them to explain to them why that matters. You play this game, you compete. You compete in sport, you compete in life because you want to do well. And you work hard and you sacrifice a lot of things to put yourself in a better position each and every day to just be that much better today. Even if it's just 1% better than yesterday, we'll take that. And 2 guys who have spent a lifetime dedicating themselves to that very mindset. And the accolades fill the trophy rooms, right? There's not enough space to tell you how great these guys are just based on the trophy case. So when they hook up and they acknowledge each other and what each other has done in this game, no words needed to be spoken. And I get it. One's on the mound, one's at the plate. It's not like you're going to have a conversation. But just that moment in time when you're competing against somebody else who you know is at the top, primo, that is something that the sport doesn't get a ton of all the time, because you've watched each one of these guys weather the storm and the evolution of the game, going from, youthful dynamos to peak just peak pillars to now savvy veterans who are still making an impact in one way or another. JV a little more on the production side, obviously, rolling out of bed at 40 plus with the second TJ, knocking on the door of a fucking 19th Cy Young, whatever. And Miggy will go down as the greatest, if not, or one of the greatest, if not the greatest right-handed hitters of our time.
I think we can call him one.
And so just to watch that
we can
exchange and that acknowledgement.
He went out sad.
That's why I said one of.
At the
Yes,
one of the greatest
tough, but
peaks
at the peak,
a right-handed hitter has ever had. Yes. Yeah.
Simply put. And so it was just it's fun to see. It just warms my heart. It makes me feel good. Like that's why you play the game. To have moments like that, to have exchanges like that. And I hope that young players see that and somewhere in their heart develop the desire to play long enough, to play well enough, and to respect the game enough to have a moment like that where you get to
two of the greats. Nice little tip of the cap, tip of the helmet, nod to each other. It was very cool. The standing ovation by Tigers fans was very cool for the ones that were there. They actually, the other day when they had the walk-off home run, who's the rookie that had the walk-off home run? I think it was on Friday or Saturday night. Can't remember his name. It was his first big league home run. It was a walk-off home run for the Tigers. Pretty great crowd there. All things considered for what the Tigers season has turned out to be. So shout out to the Tigers faithful for the standing ovation. It was pretty cool. Couple of quick things to hit on before we get the fuck out of here. Pete Alonso expected to be traded. That was from Bob Nightingale. So I don't know how much validity there is to that. But I mean, it would make sense, right? Like if you're the Mets and all the reports that where there's smoke, there's fire about Max Scherzer saying, I waived my no trade because they said we're not trying to contend in the next couple of years here. Are the Mets smart for not paying Pete Alonso to stay? I mean, like if you're going to rebuild, that's fine. But I feel like that's a guy that you might want to build around. I don't know. I could be wrong. Or are they going down the right path in terms of a complete rebuild by trading Pete Alonso this winter?
Well, I feel like a rebuild means, and you know what this means, Jared, as you have just found out, remodeling. You can leave one wall up, and that's considered a remodel. That's not considered a tear down. So if you keep Pete Alonso there, is he the wall? Is he the pillar? Is there anybody else on that roster that's not going away that you feel like you have to have, or is Pete Alonso clearly that guy?
I mean, Lindor to me is the pillar, right? Like if you're gonna no, like if
but
there's
he's not
a
going
guy
anywhere. You don't need to tear that wall down.
Mets
that wall's
where
staying.
It's like, okay, you were here before. You're gonna have to be the guy that leads us through this rebuild.
Parker Meadows.
I think Lindor is more that guy than Alonso, and I understand the contract situations are vastly different. Like Lindor is locked in.
Right. So is Pete a guy like so consider Lindor in my rebuild, my home analogy here. Consider Lindor the foundation. Foundation's not going anywhere. Pete Alonso was a part of that foundation, but because of his contract status right now, he's now been moved to a wall that you could either keep up and build around and attach things to and build up off of, or he's the wall that you have to tear down so you have a clean foundation.
Wouldn't these rumors indicate
that
the Mets are telling you we don't see him as that guy? Because you would look at it and say Pete Alonso has hit more home runs than any player in baseball since he got called up at the start of 2019. With that being a fact, and there still being a report that, hey, we're going to look to trade this guy this offseason, they're telling you that whatever the intangibles are, if we forecast him being a DH, like we don't like the defense at first base, any of that, clubhouse, character, anything, I don't know. Like the Mets are telling you, yeah, the home runs are nice, but we feel like some other team will probably bite on that. And if we're going to really rebuild, we got to look at pieces that we can move that will be attractive to other teams. And can kind of jumpstart this rebuild that we've got to initiate here. Like we don't have a choice now. Like we've already started it by trading Verlander and Scherzer.
Maybe they're more
like we've already done that because that was if they were going to stick around, those are compete now moves to decide to keep those guys. We've moved on. So we've already kickstarted the rebuild. How do we put another log in the fire here? Oh, okay. Here's a guy that has a contract that's expiring in a year. Pete Alonso. We can probably get a nice haul for him. What?
You know what though? Something to think about is because of maybe how blue collar Pete Alonso is.
Maybe.
Could this be a hometown discount opportunity for the Mets to go, look,
well,
Pete,
now, but I don't know anymore. Now they're rumors of trades, I don't know. Maybe Pete's feeling like, what the fuck? I've been their best player since I got called up, and now they're trying to trade me. Doesn't seem like that's going to be.
You never slapped your little brother to make him cry, and then quickly get him to see your point and why the tears were necessary, and it's okay now. Everything's going to be fine. We can move on together. You needed that. So it could be they just dropped these little rumors out there to get Pete a little stirred up, and they're like, look, Pete, this is where you need to be. All right. This is what we're going to offer you. This is what we can do for you. This is where you want to be. Do you really want to? Because now Pete Alonso's starting to think about what the grass feels like on the other side of the fence. Maybe it's not as comfy. Maybe it's not as soft. Maybe it's not as green. And he's like, but you know what? I do know what the grass feels like here in New York, and I can deal with this grass.
It would kind of shock. Hey, if they trade Alonso, that's just going to push that window back at least another year or two, because the Mets, quote unquote, rebuild seemed to me like what Scherzer was saying was like, maybe next year we don't try that hard, and then the year after we start signing more guys. But if you trade Alonso now, it seems like you're going to have to wait 2-3 more years, because you're just going to have all prospects. And then who do you really have left in the lineup who you really, is really like a elite type player other than Lindor?
They're okay. Maybe they're okay with Daniel Vogelbach being Daniel Vogelbach instead of Pete Alonso being Daniel Vogelbach.
Putrid that you just said that. Vogelberg.
You see, dude, Brian Snicker said that on the broadcast of the Braves. They're interviewing him. They had like Chipper, Glavine, Maddox, and Frank Gore in the booth. They're interviewing Snicker, and he goes, yeah, Vogelberg. He said, call him Vogelberg. Just slipped up and dropped it. Like look around. I hope nobody realized
Vogelberg.
I just hit a roast.
Dallas, do you have one of these things? The lifetime gold pass? Do you have one of those? This must be.
I got.
This must be like a 10-year service time thing. It's like if you, I think I'm assuming it's 10-year service time in the big leagues, and you get a legit gold card.
Mm-hmm.
It says the Commissioner of Baseball in appreciation of long standing. This is a word I've never seen before. Meritorious. What is that word? Meritorious. Is that the word? Dallas, that's not an everyday word. Come on.
Wrong.
Dallas, that's not an everyday word.
Dude.
It's not.
That's an easy fucking word.
Meritorious. Meritorious?
It's, I will say this, Dallas? It's everyday letters. What's the difference?
Dallas, what's the word? What's the word? Dallas is going to laugh, but he doesn't know the word either. What is it? All right, so I was right.
It's meritorious.
The Commissioner of Baseball in appreciation
the third
of
time,
long
6 minutes
and
later, you were right, you got it.
Service presents this lifetime pass. It says, congratulations on receiving your lifetime gold pass from Major League Baseball. This accomplishment achieved by a great dedication to the game is emblematic of your talent and determination to succeed over a long period of time. It is an exclusive club and a membership to be proud of. The pass itself may be utilized to gain you, it's non-transferable, and a guest tickets to Major League Baseball regular season games. It is not intended for exhibition or postseason games. In the case of opening day and capacity crowd games, it is encouraged to check in advance with the home club regarding seating for that game. Beyond the practical use of the card for ballpark access, be reminded of what the Gold Pass represents: your sustained success in Major League Baseball. Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one.
It's a big deal, man.
I got
It's a
10 years
huge-
service time. The big
What, did you get one? What's going on? Why is this?
By the way, Dallas, you see my fucking hit?
Just- congrats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be honest with me when I assess this right now, all right? It was probably a ground ball that hugged the ground, and hold on. I'm trying to replay here. I got the second baseman diving for
I
that
don't
ball.
know. I mean, I've only seen the video that I posted. We had like 3 different camera guys there, so we have all the angles. But I mean, that ball from contact, by the way, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
Did he dive? Did he
Up
dive?
the middle.
So
I
where'd the
saw the ball go up
What
the
do you
middle,
mean?
and I started looking at the crowd. And
No.
fucking, I'm an entertainer, dude. I wasn't fucking looking at the second baseman diving for balls. I fucking hit the ball. It was in the outfield in a fraction of a second. I smoked it. So I don't know if he fucking dove or not. Jake was not there.
That's not true. Jake, were you there?
Pimped it.
Yeah, I pimped it. Bat flipped. I was point.
Pimped it?
No, because what happened was, Joey, is Jared had to wait to see the ball through the infield. And once you realized it did get through the infield, that's when he celebrated. Because the minute that ball got through there, you could
I
see
was just
Jared go,
surprised to put the ball in play.
Yeah,
The
that's
dude's
right.
a lefty for Boston College. Like, he's active D1 right now. So I was not expecting to get a hit. I was just as surprised as everybody else.
Oh, no. He's an active deep. Oh, give me this kid's
Yeah,
name.
he pitches for
ruin this
BC
kid's
right
life
now.
right now. Give me this. Yeah, well, he might not come springtime, Jared.
So I met him out in the outfield.
Jesus.
It was him, the lefty, and then there was another dude who is legit 6'8". And I was like, which one of you motherfuckers is starting? Because they told me a kid from BC is starting tonight. And the lefty was like, I'm pitching. And I was like, thank God, because like that dude was massive. So I was like, what do you got in the tank? He's like 88, like high 80s. And I was like, fuck. I was hoping to get someone that's throwing like 77, maybe. And he's like, yeah, no, sorry. I was like, okay. So I get up there. It was a 2-2 count. I fouled one off. Huh? Yeah. Well, I fouled one off, smelled the bat.
So just had to spread out.
And then second, I took a monster gangster hack at the second one. So I believe it was 1-2. And then the 2-2 pitch was definitely strike 3. But the umpire, like, he let it go. It was borderline. It was outside. It was never something I was going to swing at. Like, you got to be middle or in for me to take a swing. Like, if you pitch me away, I'm toast.
But you
It was out. Maybe it was a strike. Maybe it wasn't. So the 2-2,
Probably
get another heater and fucking smoke it up the middle and bat flip, go up the first baseline. I'm asking for the ball. I'm yelling to Ellen out in right field. And I had the umpire sign it. I was like, I need you to sign it for not ringing me up on that 1-2. So he signed it. And then I had the kid that gave the hit. He signed it. And then I gave the ball to Ellen. I don't know his name.
Do you know that kid's name? What's that kid's name?
I don't know his name.
God. If you are the left-hander,
You think he's going to
for
turn himself
BC,
in?
who gave up the knock to
I don't
Jared,
think he's going to turn himself in.
DM
after
me.
this.
Show yourself. Show yourself. If you don't come find me, I'm going to come find you.
Yeah. I mean, and then when I got back in the dugout, they were asking me, they were like, when is the last time that you got a hit in like a game where there was an umpire, like a real game? And I was like, 2010. Yeah, I was 26 playing
You're like,
at 18 and
Let's
under.
think. I was 26 and they were
Yeah.
14.
Yeah, I think
About 9 years
that
ago.
probably was the last time I got it. And it was, I remember the game too. I had 3 knocks off a lefty. So maybe this whole time, my entire life, I just didn't realize I'm a lefty slayer. I had no clue. How many fucking podcasters can roll out of bed and get a knock off a D1 pitcher? How many? Not you, not Joe, not Jay Hay.
Do you know what my, you know what my batting average is career in alumni games?
I'm talking about Texas Tech Raiders.
No, pal.
I'm talking about get your guns up. I'm talking about get your guns up in those games.
As the older alumni,
the kids that come back and play from D1 Texas Tech, and I get all right. Well, they're again, it's an alumni game. Like they're not in baseball shape. This dude is pitching for a D1 program right now.
Jared, alumni. Me being the alumni,
what's your batting average?
I have to play against the current team. So the current kid, I've never gotten out, bud. 1,000. 1,000. That's over multiple alumni games. Multiple. Marcus Pointer. Where are you at right now?
You don't gotta lie.
Talk about rolling out of bed. Rolling out of bed cold with a Woody.
I was getting fucking heckled too.
Doing work. Yeah.
You can hear the guy. You can hear the guy when it's a 2-2 pitch. Heater's coming in, and there's some slapdick behind home plate that I'll try and find. Where the fuck's the video? He's like, "You're out of here," as I'm trying to fucking square up this fastball from hell.
There you go!
You're out of here. Fucking piss missile off the middle.
I love it.
Yeah. The haters don't they know how much power I gain when I do shit like that. They're like, he can't have that. But I took it anyway. So shout out to me. Shout out to me. No one else on this podcast is going to give me credit.
Shout out to me.
You literally try to take the credit.
I just gave you credit. What are you talking about?
Thank you.
I said
it did look a lot like Pujols
when I saw that.
I did see a side by side. Like it's a combo of Manny and Pujols.
This guy.
My swing, my follow through, everything. Bat toss. You did.
Yeah. And like
I gave you the pep talk too.
No.
You kind of there's a little panda in there. Remind me of the
No. There's really not. No, there's not. If it was a day game, though, I would have been wearing knockaround sunglasses because we're in the heat of summer. You need a pair of great shades that you don't have to baby. Knockaround sunglasses is the go-to for quality polarized shades that won't break the bank. Plus, they just released the first set of teams in their official MLB collection, including Red Sox and Yankees, as well as the official U.S. women's soccer team sunglasses. So you can add a little something extra to your game day outfit for this summer's big, it says matches. It should be games. This summer's big games. Don't be the person that's squinting into the sun or worried about getting sand on your overpriced sunglasses. Check out knockaround.com for great looking polarized shades. Starting at just $28, use the promo code ROCKET. And you'll get free shipping on your order. Couple things before we get out of here. Noah Syndergaard designated for assignment by the Cleveland Guardians. RIP. Is that it? If you can't make it for the Guards, is that it? Some team's gonna take a flyer on Noah. Season's over though, right?
Yeah, I think somebody will take a flyer on Noah. I hope that season's over. What I hope happens for him is I hope he's able to get to a place where physically he's comfortable pitching with whatever it is that he has. Because I think for a guy like him, a lot of the hurdle or the biggest hurdle for him to clear is coming to terms with who he is and who he is no longer, what he currently has, what he no longer has. If you can come to terms with those things, then he's going to give himself a much better shot at playing baseball in the future. If he can't come to terms with those things and wants to continue to, or I shouldn't say continue to, finds himself blaming the fact that he doesn't have what he did and is no longer who, well then, buddy, ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
I don't know. I mean, he's got, like you said, he has to learn to pitch with what he's got. I don't know how he needs to tap into that or who he needs to talk to. I can't think of. I mean, everyone automatically just defaults to Greg Maddux, but not everyone has Greg Maddux's stuff. Like it's not a matter of like velocity and losing velocity and being able to pitch with low velocity.
No, but you don't learn how to.
The stuff was still there for guys like that found success with low velocity, but they're still able to pitch in the big leagues. Like Noah Syndergaard built his name off of having an intimidating fastball. He wasn't a stuff guy. He was a power guy.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. And Zach Neal for the Oakland Athletics just won his first big league ball game in 7 years, 8 years, something like that. Right. And he went up there and he did it with 88.
Bro, I shit on 88.
Maybe a 1 here and there, sinking it, cutting it. Just
what team do you get that win against?
Right, just trying to stay off the barrel, man. And
yeah. So you're saying,
what team did Zach
checks
Neal
out.
get that one against?
I could play for the
Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
No, I mean, well, like if you snuck out on the field and
but if I got an AB against him,
for sure,
I could get a knock. That's proven. This is the worst. That was the worst fucking thing. That's the worst thing that could have happened.
Yeah,
Dallas. The worst thing that could have happened is me getting a fucking rocket base hit off of 88. Because now I'm just gonna be like, all right, now what's next?
No,
what's next?
The best thing. The best thing to happen was that there was nobody there close to pro ball.
I don't give a fuck. 88
is going to co-sign to that shit for
Dallas
you.
So jealous.
Just like
Dallas,
Brent Rooker did.
Your time's up, dude. You play in the big leagues.
You don't have
that time is come and gone. I'm the captain now. I'm the one that's hitting 88 mile an hour fastballs. All right, pipe down. I faced Dallas.
Ain't nobody
once.
sneaking
I took
a
him
piece
to the
of cheese
fucking
past
warning
this
track.
Ain't happening.
Wind was blowing in. Yeah. Wind was blowing in. I was off balance. It was so fucking slow. I was out on my front foot, put it to the warning track. If I stayed back on that, that's 458. Easy. No.
Is that the one that Rooker caught barehanded?
Yeah. But Brent Rooker was the one that said that I had an above average arm for major leaguers. He did say that.
Yeah. He's also part of that mascot cocaine ring. So do with that what you will.
Paul Skenes didn't make it out of the first inning in his AA debut.
Oh.
No, he didn't.
Well, yeah, he did.
You're thinking of his professional debut. I said his AA debut.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. This is his AA debut. Didn't make it out of the first.
The pro debut was what, 2 2/3? Yeah, some Ernie's tagged on, but
yeah, Livy
was
Dunn.
there anybody there that had a better cheering section? Let's start there.
Paul Skenes and Livy Dunn are dating, and she was in the radio booth, and fans were trying to storm the fucking booth to get to her. It's crazy.
Oh, hey.
No,
and in the minor leagues where there's just not the level of security that you would hope for, that's a dangerous game to be playing. It's all right though, Jared. It's all right.
What's he gonna do?
You're gonna take some lumps early. No big deal.
Yeah, what's he gonna do?
He's gonna with his performance. He's gonna be much better next time around. Yeah, there's expectations, and some people after a performance like that would tend to lower their expectations.
What do we do?
That's not what we're doing in the Bird, Jared. We don't lower expectations. If you got a guy blowing chundos with Livy Dunn in-house on the mic, you have no other choice but to raise your expectations. And Paulie, get out of the fucking middle of the dish, guy. 102, they're going to time it up here, kid. They're going to time it up. Start working off the black, start spinning something, change eye level, move some fucking feet, and then start blowing doors. Come here.
I think there's an outside chance we could get Paul Skenes on this podcast. I didn't realize
You know what? I can make a phone call.
We
I'll
follow
text
each
him.
other.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait
Let's,
until
let's
his.
throw a
I'm gonna
DM.
wait
I'll make
until
a
his
phone call
season's over.
to.
I don't want to interrupt. I want him to get acclimated. Have his. I mean, he's not gonna be a. He's not gonna be a September call up. That would be preposterous. But, or I mean, yeah. Now that it's only 3 spots, there's no chance. But after his minor league season has concluded, I think that's a call that we make. I'd love to talk to him. Last note before we get out of here. And I made them last on purpose just because I fucking hate this dude on our Reddit page that just complains about us not talking about the Brewers. It's like, we'll talk about them when they're interesting. Not every team that's good is interesting. Like, sorry. Milwaukee Brewers have won 8 straight games. They've won 8 straight games, and they've gotten offensive contributions from pretty much everyone except for our boy, Yelly. Yelly has not been red hot during this. But the Milwaukee Brewers have improved to 73-57. They've got a 4-game lead now over the Chicago Cubs for the division. They have a 97.4% playoff odds. You got Contreras over this span, over the winning streak, 385, a 1284 OPS. Willie Adames, 394 with an 1126 OPS. Taylor, 333 with an 1115 OPS. He's still doing it. Carlos Santana, 355 with an 1105 OPS. Even your boy, Mark Canha, 333, 862 OPS.
Yeah.
They've gotten contributions from a lot of different dudes in that lineup. Yelly, though, having a comeback year of sorts, but he hasn't been carrying the weight of the Brew Crew over this winning streak. He is hitting a $194 with a 632 OPS over the life of the 8-game winning streak. But on the year, though, and he's not getting nearly enough love for it.
7-8 days
On the year, he's hitting 280, 370 on base, 445 slug. That's an 815 OPS. So, I mean, that's right in line with his career averages. He's hitting 280, career average 286. On base 370, career average 376. 445 slug, 464 career average. 815 OPS, 840 career average. He's back. Maybe not during the win streak, but for the season, Yelly's back.
How's my man Rowdy been since he
doesn't
came back?
even
He just
register
came back, right?
on the qualifieds for this 8-game. How many games has he played?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
Rowdy
because he hasn't-
Tellez
I mean, he just
has played 4 games since coming back. 333 with a 1278 OPS.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's just
12
over
plate
4 games,
appearances.
though.
Why is he
too.
only
Yeah,
playing
12
4
plate
games?
appearances, 9 at bats. So,
All right.
Yeah.
Come you, Rowdy.
There you go. Yeah, that was a very thorough pod today.
Go Brew Crew.
I thought we did a nice job. Yeah, especially Jay
Yes.
Hay
Good effort. Good effort by everybody.
did a great job.
It's his best work today.
Joseph, any final thoughts here today?
Well, we were just talking about pitchers who used to throw fast and not anymore. And I want to shout out to that Greinke, and because he pitched against the Athletics and was having a great freaking game. And I wanted to hear Dallas' thoughts, what he saw.
It was fun to watch, dude, because 88 mile an hour fastball, 87 mile an hour power changeup. The curve, You could see him up there, like he just had an idea, like, this is what I'm going to throw. All right, that's what happened. Well, then this is what I'm going to throw. All right, that's what happened. Just the same old stuff. Same old stuff, like cool, calm, as collected as ever. Just fun to watch. Even at this stage without
he pitches like you, right? Does he not just pitch exactly like you now?
Yeah, like it's just, any pitch, any count. Like, I mean, trust me, Greinke's never done anything like me, or I should say I've never done anything like Greinke. But yeah, he is now forced to have to throw balls as hard as I ever could, but is still having fun just staying off the barrel, man. I mean, I think he had like fucking 5 or 6 punch outs against us.
5 strikeouts in 4 innings.
Yeah.
But he struck out like 5 of the first 7 batters, throwing 89 miles per hour was his fastest pitch. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
this guy, I love this guy.
Ducking and diving and
Dallas,
cutting and curving, man. No final thoughts. Just really excited. I was pumped up for the kids from California. Just tapping back into the Little League brain. Like, you lose a game early in a tournament and you feel like, damn, that barbecue is coming sooner than ever. Like, I don't want to be done playing baseball. And you're right at, like, it's that stage where no amount of, oh, you played good, it was a great summer, like, that is not going to land well at all. That doesn't mean shit. We need to win. 5 consecutive elimination games El Segundo takes on and is able to come out the winner, come out victorious after the walk-off by young Louie. Holla. That's my final thought.
Congrats, boys. It's all downhill from here, boys. That's it. You just won the League World Series. You're 12. Yeah. Your life is never going to be that cool ever again. Not even close. Maybe one or two of you.
All the kids that were on the Saugus Little League World Series
probably as good as it gets.
Jesus, Joe.
One of them got drafted by the Mariners. Eventually ended up in the Mets organization. And then the rest of them, one of them, I think I've told this story on this podcast before. And he won't mind me telling this story now. He's since moved on, but he was a mall cop at the Saugus Square One Mall. And there was someone that was trying to shoplift from Dick's Sporting Goods. And he chased him out into the parking lot and tackled him and handcuffed him with sex handcuffs from Spencer's. and waited. Yeah, he handcuffed him with fuzzy sex handcuffs until the police arrived. Yeah, still one of the best Saugus baseball stories ever told.
That is great. I could just imagine that dude hoofing it after somebody and not catching him, and then that guy turn around and go, "See, just like when you were 12, you slow fuck. That's why you never made it."
It might have been him. So the Saugus, yeah,
and for the record,
the Saugus Little League World Series team was nominated for an ESPY for Game of the Year. I'm dead serious. It was like them.
Oh God.
It was crazy. It was like an extra innings walk-off victory for Saugus. Big time comeback. I'm pretty sure it was him that got the hit, the sex handcuff kid. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was him. And yeah, it was like Aaron Boone's walk-off, like the Patriots winning the Super Bowl on like a last-minute field goal in Saugus Little League World Series. And then there was like some I think like LeBron comeback game. I don't know what the basketball one was. But yeah, that's who they were up against. They didn't win, but they were nominated for an ESPY. And fast forward a few years later, and he's slapping some pink fuzzy handcuffs on a shoplifter at the Saugus Square One Mall. Life comes at you fast.
Freeze.
Yeah. I could probably get him on the podcast very easily to tell that story. But yeah.
Sex handcuff guy?
Yeah. Hey, protect and serve. Protect and serve. That's what it's all about. Jake's takes?
Yeah, just good to see Mookie. I'm looking forward to 2 years from now when he comes back again, and everyone talks about how embarrassing it is that the Red Sox traded him, and then 2 years after that, and another 2 years for the next 20 years. So it'll be fun.
That'll be great.
Well, hey, cheer up, boys, because it only took
That's
about
because most
a
people were
century
unaware that he was a
for
serial
Red
killer.
Sox to get over the Babe Ruth news. So it's
yeah, it was a very quick burn. Actually,
it's a slow
She didn't have a
burn.
chance.
I know.
There's no way you didn't.
I
do that on
instantly
purpose,
wanted to take that back. Fuck. Like, I can't say everything else now. I just
Too bad.
fucking shot myself in
all
the
right.
foot. Well, son of a
Thank
bitch.
you for watching. Thank you for listening. We will be back on
Ready to go
Wednesday
on
with more
heater.
Baseball is Dead. Hope to see you there.